Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Thursday, June 6, 2019. Hope you guys had a good day yesterday. Most of the games were on point. The two big upsets that we really like came through. Let's start off with a little bit of review. Actually, before we do review, let's just jump into today's early morning games in case you want to get in on these. There are games that are just about to start minutes away. Giants at Mets. Yesterday, I thought there was a good chance the Mets would win the remaining two games. They did win yesterday. They are going for two in a row today. If they do, they're going to keep the Giants at 25 wins. Giants equals 25. And the Giants' next game is on a date with 25 numerology. So they could go into that game still on 25 wins. If they lost today, they'd pick up their 18th away loss in their 61st game, 61 the 18th prime. And that is a pattern that's pretty consistent. It's not as good as the date numerology. So those are the two biggest clues there to me. If the Giants do lose, they'll be at 36 losses. Their next loss would be 37. Their next opponent is Los Angeles. Los Angeles 37. So if they do lose today, their first loss in the next series would be fitting. They'd also go into the next series on 36 losses, and they're facing the Dodgers. Dodgers is also 36. Make sure I'm not misspeaking. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, Dodgers is 36 in the most pure cipher, both reduction ciphers. So if the Giants lose next series, they'll have a good record for going into that. 25 wins on the 25 date, 36 losses. Giants versus Dodgers essentially in the record. And New York's a big favorite today. So I don't know if it's a great pick because there are a couple things that could go wrong. Wheeler for the Mets comes in with 38 wins and 33 losses. If he wins, he's 39 and 33. New York's 33 and 39. If he lost, he'd be 38 and 34. Giants is 38. Giants is 25. If you use the rule for S, it's also 34. So if he lost, his record would be a lot like Giants. The other thing that could go against the Mets today, they stayed on 156 losses on the 156th day of the year yesterday. If they lost today, they'd get their 157th loss on the 157th day of the year. But that pattern actually isn't super consistent, the win-loss with the day of the year count. It's interesting how often it comes up, but a lot of times it doesn't come through. So I do imagine the Mets will win this game, but because it's not a great payout and there's little risk there, it's probably not worth it. You might just want to watch it this morning to see what numbers pop out. Could be numbers that we're expecting to play today. Today has 51, 24, 31 date numerology. You see a score like 2-4 or something, 5-1. Good sign those numbers are going to hit today. So I do favor the Mets, but I'm not crazy about that game. And the Braves-Pirates game, that we're going to call real quick. Caller?
Hey, Zach.
What's up?
Did you look at the manager for the Mets this game?
What do we got going on with the manager?
118th loss.
He could get his 118th loss today?
Yeah, which reflection of 8-11.
Well, it's also a big Bay Area. It's a big Bay Area number, big number to San Francisco. So that is a good observation.
Yeah, 66 days before 8-11 on 6/6.
Huh? That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's another reason to have concern with the Mets then. So.
Yeah, he's 106 and 117.
Okay, so 224th game today. Okay.
All right.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right,
bye.
Thanks. Let me make a note about that. Yeah, I just let that one go. I still like the riddle better for the Mets, but that's just one more reason to have concern. If Mets lost, manager would pick up 118th loss. Bay Area number, I'll say. And then this Braves-Pirates game, my initial thought was the Braves would take two in this series. I really liked the Braves yesterday. They were my biggest disappointment yesterday. Sorry to my man out in Arizona. I told him I liked the Mets and the Braves for two safe picks and then also go with those risky games. So I'm sure he still did fine, but I thought the Braves were going to come through yesterday. Caller?
Yeah, hey, Zach. There's no pregame up today?
Oh, I forgot the pregame link?
Yeah, I don't see it up there today.
Well, you can still use yesterday's link on the Patreon. I'll add it when I go back out to the Patreon page.
Okay, yeah, no problem. And yeah, man. So yesterday, I know we're looking at the baseball games, but man, the Warriors game kind of got us. What kind of got me yesterday?
Oh, did you bet on the Warriors game yesterday?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't know Klay Thompson was officially ruled out, and it kind of burned me yesterday. So.
Well, like I said, I wasn't crazy about yesterday's game because there were riddles going both ways.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking with that whole 30 thing, it was just about Steph Curry having that monster game. So that's what that was.
And he scored 47, right? It's their 47th year in Oakland. They raised the banner on 4-7. The Philadelphia Warriors won in 47. So, yeah.
Right, exactly. That's what that was about. But as far as today, I like the Giants for today. There's a couple nice riddles on there, and I don't really see. It doesn't seem like the Mets have too many riddles that I've seen, but I like the Giants today.
Well, it's the again, it's that 25-36 thing, and it's the Giants picking up that 18th away loss in their 61st game, 61 to 18th prime. So
yeah, that's there too. That's there. The 157th loss, but you just mentioned that doesn't come through often with the connections with the end of the year dates to the day, so, or the day of the year to the day. So
that's one thing that could go against the Mets though today. If the Mets lost, they would pick up 157.
Yeah, that's like you said, that's kind of so. Like you said, for the past couple of days, it hasn't really came through, but one game I really like today because I bet on the Blue Jays the last 2 days and they won, and you said that if that happens, the Yankees would win. So I really like the Yankees today. So.
Well, here's the thing about the Yankees. They don't pay anything today, right? They don't pay anything. So I wouldn't advise betting the Yankees. I do expect them to win, but there's a chance because Toronto could pick up their 24th win on the 24-date numerology. I don't think they're gonna. So today, if you already won twice on Toronto, I would just say you did well on that series. I mean, you can bet the Yankees, but they don't really pay anything. I mean, if you bet $100, they're gonna pay what? About $50. So
well, it just depends because I don't know if somebody mentioned to you about the run lines. So the run lines are different. So sometimes if a team is favored and you take them with the run line, you can get them at plus. So even if the Yankees are minus with the money line, if you take them with the run line, you'll get way better odds.
Okay.
Sometimes you can get plus money with them on the run line. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But they would have to win by usually the run lines are 2 goals. So or two runs. So
right, a run and a half, right.
By 2 runs.
Right, you got to win by 2. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And and they also have reverse run lines too that go up. So like, if you ever have a feeling about like a team that's gonna just like destroy the other team, and maybe that'd be great to share that too because if you do reverse run lines, the payouts are like way more monstrous if you do reverse run lines.
Sure. Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah. But
all right,
anyway,
man.
that's what I see for today. But I'll stay tuned and chime in if I see anything else. So.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, so I just wanted to say yesterday we were also talking about the game that would have been the huge payout, which did come through Miami. I said if the money stays heavy on Milwaukee, if you see Miami like around the 15% of the money on them range, then that's also another green light. So if you use pregame, that's exactly where it was. There was 15% of the money on Miami. That was another good sign. There was a strong chance they would pay out on that because the riddle was there. Caller?
Hey, Zach. I just wanted to go over this real quick with you. There is a riddle going on with the Pirates Braves game with the managers. So today, the manager for the Braves, his name is Brian Snicker. Today is leaving 133 days left in the year after his birthday. And the manager for the Pirates, Clint Hurdle, is going for his 1,330th all-time win, like 133. And if that does happen, the Pirates will become 30-31, like 1-3-3 backwards, and then we'll go into 30, and then we'll go into 6-7 on 30 and 31, like the 67th time.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Did you follow what I said?
Sure, it was a little abstract. There's some mathematics there. It's just the manager records. Sometimes they come through, but there was like a recent one where a manager was going for his 277th win in the final game of the series versus the Oakland Athletics, and Oakland Athletics equals 277, and he didn't get it. And that's why I don't like. I'm not crazy about manager records because I mean that was like real straightforward. I thought that he would definitely get that, and then he didn't. I was like, that's why I don't like to go with the managers. So.
Right, I understand. Yeah, so you're right. That doesn't always come through, but also the record ties in with this number as well. The Pirates can become 30 and 31, like 133 backwards on 6-7. So I don't know if that tied in with the Oakland game.
Well, today's 6-6.
I'm sorry.
You said they can become 30 and 31 on 6-7, but today's 6-6.
Well, no, they can become 30 and 31. And I mean, go into 6,
oh, to tomorrow.
30 and
I hear
31.
you. Tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, this is a 133. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. And also for the Red Sox game, Alex Cora is going for his 141st win all time. And the Red Sox are going for their 33rd win. You type out 33 equals 141. And I might as well just say, I'll have you on the phone now so you can get back to doing Ned Yost for the Royals, who the Red Sox are playing. He's stuck on 1,163 wins, which is the 192nd time. And today is 291 days after his birthday, the reflection of 192. So I don't know if you followed what I said there, but there's definitely a riddle going on. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there, but that's all I got.
All right, appreciate it, man. Good observations.
Yep, take care.
All right, thanks. Okay. Yeah, sometimes the managers are good. Like, I forget, there was a New York manager on a 111 day, and he was going for his 111th loss, and of course that came through because New York and 111 are like peas in a pod. But again, sometimes there's just some, and there was a good one earlier this year with Joe Madden, a whole bunch of 9s on September 9th. Cubs is 9. So it's like, it seems like if the team and the manager numbers share a relationship, that'll come through. Like if it's their specific team. But again, like I said, it wasn't that long ago. Maybe it was the Mariners manager. I forget what it was, but somebody was going for their 277th win in the final game of the series. So they had to get it in that game or it wasn't going to happen. The 277th win versus the Oakland Athletics, 277, and it didn't come through. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to spend all this time analyzing all these manager stats because they're just not consistent enough. So, again, if you analyze too many things, sometimes it'll water down your winning percentage. And that especially happens in football if you analyze the coaches too much, because it's amazing how often, especially in football, like week after week, you'll see these great alignments with the coaches and then they don't come through. They put you in the wrong direction. So what's up, man?
Hey, like I said yesterday, Zach, man, that's why I said I didn't want to jinx it. That shit was a clear read yesterday, the Raptors game.
Well, it wasn't a clear read. It was a mixed read, but they did have the better narrative. I said if they're going to split games, Toronto should probably win this one and not the next one. So.
Well, the reason why it was clear is because their all-time playoff record was 45 and 57. Wednesday equals 46. Game 3 equals 46. Raptors equals 46.
Right. Raptors had that strong connection to Game 3, 46 and 82.
Yeah, and then Steve Kerr, he was 13 and 5. 13 is a 6 prime. He got his 6th off. ABC equals 6.
Right. That was a good one. There was the prime number relationship. It was also the Warriors' playoff record this year. That's what you're talking about. Their playoff record this year is now 13 and 6. 13 the 6th prime.
And then that's what I mentioned to you about the Oakland. So now they're in Oakland again, right? So now I can tell you again. So Oakland equals 131. You write out 57 equals 131. So they walking in with 57. Toronto. See? So they stayed on the 57 because Oakland equals 131 because they're playing there again. So they was gonna stay on the 57 because the 131 is there.
Yeah, I suppose. So.
Yeah. And then Oakland equals 58, so they could split. And then Oakland could win it. Warriors win this game and split, so then they get to 58 because Oakland equals 58.
And Warriors equals 59, right?
Yeah. So, and then Friday equals 63. They went 6-3, stayed on the 6, like I said, at home. ABC equals 6. You know, so.
Right, but it wasn't a clear read. I mean, I did favor Toronto, but the 30 was there too. All those 30s could have hit again, so I definitely wouldn't call it a clear read.
We haven't missed a game 3 yet, though, Zach. Like a game number, like that's crucial.
Yeah, the game 3 Gematria, game 4, all that Gematria has been coming through mostly in the playoffs. I think there was one game where it didn't come through. I forget what number it was, but
yeah, but you know what I mean. It's it happens. I'd be wrong sometimes too, but I just knew in my gut. That's why I said I didn't give a fuck. I knew they was gonna win, and that's why I Clay Compton didn't play. Yeah, that's the part that's rigged, but hey, the matrix part is these damn numbers. So, that's what happened. So, but yeah, man. Are you gonna go over the game? You gonna review the game, or you already did?
Well, the Warriors have scored 109 points in all 3 games. The 29th prime. There's something going on with that. So
yeah. I heard Kevin Durant not coming back, huh?
He's not coming back for game 4?
I don't. That's what one of the people said. But then I watched another news thing. They said,
well, they have to do this. This is because if Durant's in the game, nobody's going to bet on the Raptors in any games. So that's what this is. This whole thing is just for the betting and the gambling. But
yeah, you're right. No, you hit on the head. That's what they're doing. They fucking with us. And like you said, like you mentioned the other day, now that gambling is legal, they're gonna really fuck with us. So we got to pay close attention because now they're gonna manipulate you with, Kevin's not playing, or he might play at game time. Just like yesterday, Zach. I knew Clay wasn't gonna play. Well, we discussed it, because we in the know, but. Everybody else probably thought Clay was playing. They didn't let nobody know that till the game started. So now, since gambling legal, that's how they're gonna manipulate. So we gotta pay close attention. Yeah, like you said, because ain't nobody gonna bet the Raptors.
Yeah, the Warriors should win the next one and make it 7-3 at home. So.
Yeah, and then what they're gonna do. I think, Zach, what's the spread? I don't know. Is Raptors the favorite?
I doubt they'll be the favorite next game.
Yeah, that'd be a good manipulation for Vegas. Put Raptors the favorite.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right.
Man. Are you doing hockey today? Well, obviously, hockey's today, ain't it?
I don't think the Blues are going to win any more games. They're at 59 wins on the season. That's what Blues equals.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool.
They have 14 playoff wins too. Blues is also 14. So they're at 59 season wins and 14 playoff wins. I think they're done.
Okay. Cool. Is there any prophecy codes? Because I know St. Louis equals 52. You see any 10-6 or 38, anything?
I don't think St. Louis equals 52. It equals 25.
Oh, I thought it equals 52.
It equals 25 and 43. I know that.
Oh, yeah, there you go. 43 to 14th front.
Right.
Yeah. All right, boss man. I'm gonna keep paying attention to your Decode.
All right.
Yep,
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay. So Braves and Pirates, again, the initial thought was the Braves would get to 34 wins because Pirates was 34. A lot of series go that way. A team will get to the number that connects to the team. If Archer didn't get the win today for the Pirates, he'd stay at 59 career wins. Braves equals 59. Pittsburgh's 59. He could also become 5-9 with Pittsburgh for his career with a loss today. And what else was I looking at here? The only thing I could see going for the Pirates today is staying on 31 losses on the 31 day. The other caller made the point about them becoming 30 and 31, kind of like 3-3-1, the 67th prime. And I think Braves is also 67. Yeah, Braves is 67. I guess I will add that note up here. I really thought the Braves were going to get it done yesterday. That game disappointed me. Let me see. If Pirates won, they would be 30 and 31. 331, 67th prime. Braves equals 67. Caller?
Hey, Zach. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Hey, so did you notice that 61 and 18 did not hit for Atlanta yesterday?
I sure did.
Man, that thing just threw me off yesterday.
That was the one game that really surprised me yesterday. I mean, the game, they were still good, but that game, I'm sure, tipped a lot of people. It could have been a lot better day if that came through.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, but there was like a delay or something, and like they held the game off for a while. I think there was like a thunderstorm and rain and all this, and then the game started like a couple hours later, and I noticed, I was like, dude, Pittsburgh jumped out to like a 7-0 lead, 7-1 lead, and I was like, oh my god, that game's gonna ruin me, and it didn't come through for me, man.
Yeah, it ended 4-7. Pirates is 47, so they had a nice tribute in the score, but
yeah, crazy.
That was the game of surprise.
A couple of things I'm looking at today. I don't know, this might be a little abstract, might be a little crazy, but you know, sweep equals 22, right? And it also equals 23. So I'm thinking that the teams with 22 and 23 are going to sweep today.
You mean like they're going to win all their games, or?
Yeah, they're going to sweep the series. So this is just a couple of things I'm looking at here. Is I think Boston's going to sweep. They're going to win that series 3-0. I also think maybe Miami has a chance to sweep the Brewers, and I think that Toronto has a chance to sweep because that whole thing with 61-18 didn't hit with the Braves. I'm thinking maybe that might not hit with the Yankees today, and that Toronto might have a chance to get their 24th win and sweep them, and sweep equals 23. Toronto.
Blue Jays is 23, right.
Yeah, so that's just one of the things I'm going to take a chance on today. I don't know. I'm not going to bet too much on it, but if it hits, it might hit pretty good for me. But other than that, with this game you're talking about right now with the Braves, you know, I did bet on the Braves, but the one thing I did see after I bet on them is that Pittsburgh is going for that 13th win at home.
Uh-huh.
So that kind of, I didn't pay attention to that before I placed my bet this morning. And I was kind of like worried about that because 13 is the 6th prime. Today's the 6th day, right?
I see what you're saying there with that. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one thing that's kind of scaring me with that bet that I placed. But other than that, I don't know. What do you think about all that I just said?
Well, the Mets have jumped out on the Giants already. The Braves, the 113 that could go in their favor is they could stay on 13 away losses on the 6th. The sweep riddle is definitely possible.
Today's the 79th Major League Baseball day too, and that's the 22nd prime.
Right, that's true. Boston's 22. They're one of the teams. So it was Boston that was going for the sweep. I think the Cubs are going to sweep the Rockies. Rockies is 35. I like the Cubs in a big way yesterday before I took the calls.
Yeah. The Cubs came through yesterday too,
and the Cubs can get their 22nd home win today too.
Yeah, that was the other team too that I saw that could get the sweep. And I think because today is the 79th Major League Baseball day, 22, the 22nd prime, sweep 22, sweep 23. I think there's going to be at least 2 series that get swept.
Sure. Okay, so I'm just thinking about so Blue Jays, Cubs, Marlins have the chance, and
Red Sox.
And Red Sox. Those are the ones that have the opportunities. And Boston's 22.
Yeah.
The Boston one seems the most probable.
And the Cubs probably.
And the Cubs, yeah, absolutely. And the Cubs. The Yankees one, what worries me about that one is just that New York is 39. So if that series ends and the Blue Jays end that series on 39 losses, and also the fact that the Yankees can get that 18th away win in their 61st game, I mean, it's right there. But if you want to put together a small parlay on all those teams that could potentially sweep, I mean, you don't have to bet a lot of money. If you just put together $10 and it all hit, that'd probably pay over $100.
Yeah, what I did is I put 4 of them together, and I included one of each of the sweep games that were profitable. So that way, even if it doesn't hit, it doesn't matter. You know?
Sure. Yeah, Blue Jays do
Yeah.
have a shot today, absolutely, because Blue Jays does equal 23 like sweep, and if they swept, they'd get their 24th win on the 24 date. It's there,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. It's just that 39 is such a relevant New York number.
Yeah. So, the numerology of 12, right? That's one of the lesser numbers, right, today?
The numerology of 12, 3?
No, the 12. So 6 plus 6 is 12, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, the day plus the month. Got it.
So that one usually doesn't play a big factor in, right?
Right.
So I'm starting to think that maybe that Atlanta game, I would like, obviously, because I bet on Atlanta, I would like for the Pirates to stay on 12 wins, but that 6 and 13 thing, man, that's kind of scaring me a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you. The fact that the Braves didn't win yesterday and they had such a good riddle kind of rattled my bones a little bit. Still, just them getting to 34 wins is making good sense to me because Pirates is 34, but there is cause for concern in that Braves Pirates game. So
yeah, I also looked ahead too, and one of their, I forgot who they're playing, but for some reason the 34 made sense too, and who they're playing next. I forgot who it was.
the Braves.
Yeah, the Braves.
Let me put up their schedule real quick here on the screen. They are playing the Marlins next. Marlins. Not sure that the Marlins have a connection to 34. Let me check that. Marlins is 32. Miami Marlins, 59. I don't know what the thought would be with 34 Marlins. You must have saw something there, but I'm not sure what it is.
Is there a 35 in there? Because I think maybe they could have got the 35th win, but that doesn't matter anyways because it could happen on either day.
Yeah.
There's no 35 in there.
Well, they have a 36 connection, so if they like 1-2 in their next series, they get 36.
I think that's what it was. That's probably what I saw.
Okay.
But then they would have to win today, or they sweep the Marlins, get to 36.
Right.
If they lost today.
And if the Marlins sweep the Brewers today, they're another team that could sweep. The Marlins could sweep the Brewers today.
Yeah. The one thing, though, about that one was the 37 with the Brewers.
Right. Milwaukee's 37, right?
Yeah. But the 157th day is the 37th prime.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm kind of thinking maybe the Brewers do win. I think that one and the Toronto one, I would kind of stay away from including in the sweep. I think I would just bet on the Cubs and the Boston Red Sox to sweep.
No, I agree. Those are a lot more likely because you got good riddles for the Brewers to win and the Yankees to win today.
Yeah.
Yankees is also 37, by the way. Yankees is also 37 in light of this 157th day of the year, the 37th prime.
Yeah.
So.
All right, man. I'll call back in a little bit.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. So far, the Mets are on track. Again, the Giants, they go into that next series. Their record's going to make a whole lot of sense if they lose today. So yeah, I mean, I'm still just looking at the Braves 34 Pirates thing, but it seems like it should have happened yesterday. So, caller.
What's up, Zach?
Hey, man.
Hey, so Quintana going for today. I believe he's got 72 all-time losses. Colorado Rockies equals 73.
Oh. I see. Okay, so there's an observation.
Check me on that, though. I think I just want to make sure. You know what I mean?
Let me type it in here real quick.
All right.
That is a good observation. If it's true, it probably is. You're usually correct about things. Yeah, it is true. Okay, so you've come out with a possible scenario that could come through, but man, I'm still looking at that 61st game, 18th away loss. Rockies equals 35. Get that 35th win. They can get their 22nd home win, the Cubs today, too. Sweeps 22, and it is the 79th day of the season, the 22nd prime. So.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And if you were to look up this guy, Peter Lambert, it goes with give me a second.
He's never played in the majors before. I couldn't get any stats for him or even his jersey number.
No. It's because of there's a reason why he's. There you go. Because right now the Rockies have 46 overall wins against the Cubs all time, and the Cubs have 54 overall wins. And if you were to look up Peter Lambert, it's 54, and Lambert is 46. That's why he's pitching.
Yeah, they're 50. All right, they're 54 and 45 at home against the Rockies, and Lambert's 54 and 46. Is that what you said?
No, they're actually 54 and 46.
They are?
At home. I have it on MCube right now, yeah.
Huh. Okay, hold on. I think there's a disagreement then between these sites. I'm going to
that's what it is. Sorry, Zach. You know what they're doing? MCube is counting they're counting the one playoff game and they lost. So overall, regular season 54 and 45. Yep, you're correct. But including playoffs, 54 and 46.
I see. Okay.
So for me, that makes me believe that you will be correct here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the playoff count could matter too. Yeah.
But here's the other thing. I like to look ahead too, you know? And if the Rockies did win today, then what's their record there? There's something there. They have what, 30 they have 31 victories, right?
Right.
31. Okay. So if they win today, it's 32. They're going into New York, and then that would mean 33 if they won. Then the Mets would have 33 losses if they won today, and then it's 35 in there, I believe, somewhere. So perhaps if the Rockies won today and if they swept the Mets, there's your 35. You know.
I see.
And then the Mets would they would get 33 while the Rockies got 33. And if the Mets got swept, they would end up on 35 losses.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So
just wanted to throw that out there to you. And looking ahead for the next series, it would make sense if the Rockies pulled this out today. But it's hard because at Quintana, it could fall in the Rockies' favor, but it could fall in the other way too because of what you said.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, good observations.
So just wanted to bring that to light, okay?
Yeah, good work. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
So I'm having deja vu yesterday. I was feeling real good about the Cubs yesterday. And it was one of my favorite picks yesterday, and then they did win. But you guys brought up some good points. Now I'm having deja vu. I'm like going, uh-oh. But I'm still looking at it the same way, though. I'm saying, man, they can get that 18th away loss in their 61st game. The Cubs can get the 35th win. Rockies 35 plus the sweep thing. They can get their 22nd home win. Sweep 22, 79th day of the year, 22nd prime. What's up?
What's up, man? Hey, go back to what you just said. Who's 54 and 46 or whatever?
Well, he was saying, so the Cubs in the regular season are 54 and 45 at home against the Rockies. If you count their one wild card playoff game, they're 54 and 46.
Okay, so you want to talk about the Milwaukee game?
No, they're talking about the Rockies and the Cubs.
Okay, so 54 and 46, that works out good because Thursday equals 55.
Pick up the 55th win on Thursday. Chicago Cubs is 55 too. Yeah. All right. I'm not crazy about the day of the week gematria, but it is there. Thursday's also 35. They can get their 35th win today. So
that's the same. That's yeah, you're right. But that's what happened yesterday. Wednesday 46, game 3 46, Raptors 46.
I'd put more stock in the fact that Raptors in game 3 added up than because the day of the week also did factor in there, but just we've seen how the game count matters. But
hey, have you ever let me ask you this, Jack. Have you ever tried the game count with the series? So say for instance, like there's a new series tomorrow, Cubs versus whoever, and you do game 1. Have you ever tried that?
Oh, you're saying so count up to game 3, game 4 for the baseball series?
Yep.
I've thought about it, but I haven't actually done that.
Try to take note today. Might help us out.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. So today's game 3 for a lot of these series.
Yeah.
Let's just see if that lines up with any of them. Game 3. So 46, 44 would be the numbers today. 46, 44.
See? So Game 3 today, 46. You said, didn't you say what's the name's 54 and 46?
Well, it worries me about the 46 part, though, just because it's only 46 losses if you count the playoff game that they played. It's 45 losses in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
So that 46 could play either way. So
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, a game that looks like a nice payout today is the Tigers to beat the Rays. Tigers would get their 24th win. Rays would get their 24th loss on the 24-date numerology. I do like that one.
Okay. Yeah, man, I just wanted to make a note because I was listening to y'all. I thought you were talking about the Milwaukee game. I'm like, that shit's over then because Wisconsin equals 55. I was like, oh my God. So
yeah, Milwaukee can break the losing streak today.
What's their overall record versus team they're playing?
They're 76 and 73 versus the Marlins, 43 and 33 at home, and Thursday's 44 if you want to do your day of the week thing. So they could get their 44th win today. And game 3 is also 44.
I'm done, man.
Yeah. All right.
All right, Zach. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. So, out of the big upset games today, the one I do like the most is the Tigers to beat the Rays. 24-date numerology, the 24 can stack on both sides. Usually that's a good sign. I think there's maybe been twice this year where I remember that didn't come through compared to a lot of times where it did. So Tigers I think are a good play today. And notice they're a nice payout because Tampa's there's probably not a lot of betting on this. It's an early morning baseball game, but let's just see real quick. The money's huge on Tampa too. Look at that, 90% to 10%. What's up, caller?
Hey, you're talking about the Minnesota. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, the Tigers Rays game. So anyway, about that game as well. The Tigers manager right now with the Tigers is on 133 all-time losses, and the Tigers are playing Minnesota next. If Minnesota equals 133. So that goes along with what you're saying. If the Tigers win today, then his name's Ron Gardenshire. He'll go into the Minnesota series on 133 all-time losses against Minnesota, assuming they win today.
All right. Yeah, great observation.
Yeah, so just that might further, your speculation that Detroit might win it. But yeah, just wanted to throw that in there.
All right, good job. I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Thanks. Yeah, so I do like the Tigers today. The only thing I can see going wrong there is if the Rays win, they get their 37th win, and Detroit is 37. So that's the concern. I'll make this note about the manager. Tigers manager on 133 losses. Minnesota equals 133. Next opponent. So there's definitely a risk because the Rays can get 37. That is concerning, but man, that date numerology, it's what plays above all things. So it's the top tier item for picking a game. Okay, Red Sox and Royals. Did I skip a game? No. Red Sox and Royals. Again, Red Sox going for the sweep today. Wait, did I put this in the wrong? Oh, here we go. Okay, so I should make a note here. Okay, Royals equals 27. If the I should also do this. If the Boston pitcher did lose today, he'd become 2-7 for his career. Again, pitcher records, not always the greatest indicators. He could also become 3-6. Royals is 36. Royals is 27 and 36. So his record really makes sense either way. Duffy is 56 and 57. One thing that could go against the Red Sox if they lost today, they'd stay at 32 wins. That's an overlap number with the two cities. Boston equals 32. Kansas City equals 32. So if Kansas City pulled one out today, they'd keep Boston at 32 wins. We talked about this throughout the series, that if the Red Sox won 2 or 3, they'd finish on 32, which is possible. But the one caller did bring up the point about sweep. Today is the 79th day of the season, 79th day of the MLB season. 22nd prime, sweep equals 22. Boston equals 22. Boston could sweep. So the line seems a little bit low today. It's probably because Duffy's one of the Royals' better pitchers. He's not having the greatest year, but the one thing that would worry me about betting on Boston is just that the cities have overlap with that 32. Boston and Kansas City 32. So if the Royals won today, I definitely wouldn't be shocked. So keep that in mind. If this line was more in Boston's favor, I'd advise taking Kansas City to beat them because it'd be a better payout. But based on the fact that the riddle could go either way, maybe it's a game that you keep an eye on during real time. So if the Royals fell down 0-3 and there was a nice payout, like you could bet $10 and make 100 or something like that, might be worth the risk. There'd be a chance at a comeback. So, you know, a lot of you guys do the real-time betting. Caller?
Hey, Zach. Royals are playing in their 31st home game.
Right. So, okay, I know what you're going to say with that. And yesterday, again, that's the type of prime number relationship that has not been working out this year. It's been 50-50, the total count of home and away games, and then the prime number that connects. The prime number relationships that are better is like if it's the 61st total game going for the 18th home away win or loss, that connects a lot more. And also when the home record is like if the home record was 11-5, 11 the 5th prime, 17 the 7th prime, 19-8 isn't working out, but the other prime number relationships have been good. So I do hear you on the 31st game and staying at 11 wins. Could happen, but that prime relationship hasn't been consistent. It's not like it has always gone in the polar opposite. It's just it's been a mixed bag. So.
All right. Yeah.
Do you understand? Am I being clear when I'm explaining the prime thing? Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm just thinking because today has the 31 numerology too. I think that
it could play more because of that. Boston's also 31 when you use the rule for S. So
yeah, and then also in that Tigers game too, the one thing I did see is that they're playing in their 29th home game too. They could stay on 10 wins.
Right, but again, that's the relationship that's been a bit of a crapshoot. So
yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah. 90% of the money's on the Rays, though. Vegas wins if the Tigers win, so I'll say that.
Yeah, that's true. But the 37 and there's a lot leaning on the Rays too.
Right, there's cause for concern in that game, but man, that date numerology is right there on both sides if the Tigers win. So.
Yeah, but Thursday does equals 35, so Tigers could stay on 35 losses.
Right, I'm personally not crazy about that, but it is true. So
the other thing too, I see with the Rays, if the Tigers did win, the Rays would pick up their 10th away loss in their 29th.
That's true.
Game.
That's true. So that could go either way for that game.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the Tigers is a good call on that one.
I'm telling you, when the date numerology is on both sides, that's usually a good sign. So
yeah.
All
right, man.
All right. Yep. Appreciate it. Okay, let me just pencil in these notes here real quick, just for people who go back over and look at the notes. I don't know who's that thorough out there. Rays could pick up 10th away loss in 29th away game primes. Tigers could stay on 10 home wins in 29th home game. And same thing here with the Royals. And again, this is not the relationship that's been consistent. Maybe at some point this year it will become, but so far it hasn't been. So Royals could stay on 11 wins and 31 home games, 31, 11th prime. So, okay. The Reds and Cardinals got rained out yesterday. Wasn't crazy about that game yesterday. Today will be the 61st game, just like yesterday for the Reds. They can pick up their 18th away loss. Cardinals could also get their 31st win today on this 31 day. Reds can pick up 18th away loss in 61st game. So that's the strongest clue here. 61st game, 18th away loss. That riddle still comes out more often than not. So playing the odds that you'd have to favor the Cardinals, but it's not quite as consistent as the date numerology. But the Cardinals, the fact that they can get their 31st win on this lesser date of 31, where the lesser date plays more at the beginning of the month, you know, that might be what tips the scales. So, is there anything with the pitcher records? The Reds pitcher, the one thing he had going is he could stay on 31 losses today. And let me see. He could become 2-4 on the season as well on this 24 date. Today has 51, 24, 31 date numerology. So I'd give the edge to the Cardinals here. I think they got a better riddle. Wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm not missing something with Reds. If you use the exception, what is it? Because E becomes 18 in reverse. Yeah, Reds does have that 44 connection. I should make a note about that. Just the Cardinals pitcher could become 4-4 versus the Reds. But the prime number relationship, the date numerology, that's a better indicator. So I'd still give the edge to the Cardinals. It's not the most awesome riddle, but it's more favorable for them. So the Marlins do have a chance to sweep the Brewers today. It's not out of the question because if they do, they pick up their 24th win on the 24-date numerology. But like we've said, it made a lot of sense for the Marlins to win 2 out of 3 in this series because then they'd get their 37th loss, big number there in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's 37. Plus, today is the 157th day of the year, and 157 is 37th prime. So Milwaukee 37, it connects with the date. So if you've done well on the Marlins this series, maybe just count your blessings and save it for a safer pick. Milwaukee's not a good payout today, so I wouldn't bet Milwaukee because the riddle's still there that they could get beat. If the line was more even, I might advise Milwaukee, but if there's some games you like today, you could put together a parlay choosing each of these teams and hope the Marlins came through because it would pay out better. Sometimes that's a good thing to do when you're mixed on a game where you could get a nice payout, but the other team's probably the wiser choice. Like, for example, that first Marlins-Brewers game. The Marlins had a great riddle to win, and they did. They dominated 16-0. But that pitcher, the pitcher for the Brewers in the line just had me thinking, I'm not sure. So, okay, the Rockies pitcher, there's not a lot of history to him. And again, I was feeling good about the Cubs, but then the caller pointed out a few things today that could go in the Rockies' favor. But here was my initial thought. The Rockies lose today in their 61st game, and they pick up their 18th away loss. Cubs equals 18 too, by the way. The Cubs win. They get their 35th win. Rockies equals 35. So does Thursday. I'll put it up here. I really am not crazy about using the Gematria the day of the week, but it is there. So they could get their 35th win against the Rockies on Thursday. So we know that the Cubs lead the Rockies 54-45 in the regular season. If you count the one postseason wildcard game, they're 54-46. And I think that was last year. I think that was one of the perfect riddles last year. But they get that 55th win. That's been a big number for them this year. Chicago Cubs 55. see. What was it about the 46th loss? Rockies is 46. Okay, so there are some concerning things there. There are some things. Oh, here's the other note I wanted to make. Okay, 79th day of MLB season, 22nd prime, sweep equals 22. So I personally am still favoring the Cubs. Rockies 35, it just makes a lot of sense. They can get the 22nd home win on this 79th day of the MLB season. Remember the Rockies pitcher yesterday, we saw that it was his 79th career start and he could pick up his 22nd loss. He didn't get the loss, his team lost though, and we've seen that a lot where the pitcher records, the direction they indicate based on their record, sometimes they won't get the decision, but more often than not, the team still goes the way we were leaning. So the 61-18 thing just, you know, it's screaming out in my face. Plus the Rockies would stay on 31 wins on the 31 date. And the caller's right. The Rockies do play New York next. They could win 2 in that series and get to 33. It's not out of the question that the Rockies win more games on the road against the Mets. I think he was thinking that it would be easier for him to win 1 out of 3, but they could easily win 2 there. So they were just raised red hot. I also, now that I'm looking at this, I'm seeing why this guy wanted to go with the Rockies, because the Cubs aren't a good payout today. I wasn't even paying attention to the line. So, yeah, I couldn't advise betting on the Cubs today just because they don't pay out well and there is some risks there. But I don't think the Rockies are worth the risk personally. So I know the guy who called in, no, that was another guy who's been going with the gut this week. It was Chris who called in. So, I mean, if you're feeling the Rockies, they would be a nice payout. I mean, you can go for it, but with all the riddles on the board that favor the Cubs, I don't think that's the wisest game. I think most of you guys have done well the last 2 days, so today might be a good day to just, you know, play it safe. Verlander, earlier this year, he got his 206th career win against Seattle. Seattle's the 206 area code. His last win was his 213th on the day leaving 213 days left in the year. Let me make sure. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure something here. Seattle. Okay, it's not there. What's standing out about Verlander's record is that if he loses, he's 9-3. He doesn't have to lose today to get a no decision. I just know that Justin's 93, so I keep thinking that would be symbolic for him. The way his season riddles have been pretty tight. I'm just wondering if he could get to 9-3. Also, his team's at 42 wins. Justin's also 42. It would make sense for the Astros to get their 43rd win, though. Mariners is 43. It's their 43rd season. The Mariners beat them with 14 runs yesterday, 43 the 14th prime. So it's just Verlander's win-loss record has been following some clear riddles that have to do with him and his opponents this year. I forget some of the other ones. There's been some other ones that were just like, oh, well, no wonder he's getting that today. He could get his 31st win with Houston. I guess that is the big one there. Better be clear about that. 31 date, Houston equals 31. So Verlander's next win is his 31st with Houston. I guess that could be the riddle. Malone for the Mariners, he's 47-38. One of them was Seattle. The Mariners are 54-75 versus the Astros. You know, yesterday when they smashed them, that was the 119th game. Mariners won in 119th game. Mariners equals 119. A lot of times when we see a team play in the series match that corresponds with their team name, that they will pull out the win. So I think that's why the Mariners crushed them yesterday. 119th game between the teams. Mariners 119. The Mariners are now 22-43 at home against the Astros. And that's their next loss is 44. Seattle's 44. So staying on the 75 losses. Houston Astros is 75. Verlander's 54, who they face today. Baseball's 54. The Astros became 5-1 versus the Mariners yesterday too. Houston Astros is 51. Today they play on a 51 date. If the Mariners could win today, the Mariners would be 2-5 versus the Astros. Mariners is 97, the 25th prime. So, I need to see the Mariners win a few. And if the Astros won today, just based on the record, probably make a little bit more sense if they won because Mariners is 43 against their 43rd season. Caller?
Hey, sorry to bug you, man. Hey, who do you like? Okay, I know you like the Tigers today, and I know what you like in the hockey. In baseball, give me your, like, outside of, like, one of your favorite picks, or y'all picks, who do you like to win today?
For baseball?
You see a safe pick. Yeah, because I'm going to put a parlay in before that Tigers game goes off in 15 minutes. I already did something on it, but I'm going to do something else with it. Just put them in another parlay. And it's something that I can multiply it, you know?
Okay. Well, so 2 games are already underway today. So far, they're off to good starts. Let's see. What else is on the board?
I looked at that Boston game, but that line looks a little maybe it's the pitcher that Boston's putting out there, but they're only like I think they're only like minus 130.
Right, that line looks like a trap. And the thing about that game is Boston's at 32 wins, and that's the overlap number with both cities. Kansas City's 32, Boston's 32. I was thinking Boston would win 2 out of 3 in this series and finish on 32. So I'm not convinced that Boston's going to win today. The game that's already underway, I like the Mets. Like I said yesterday, I thought they'd win 2 in a row, and so far they're up. I think that's one of the safer picks today, but it's probably too late for you to get that in.
Oh, yeah, it's too late because I can't put that in a parlay. It's off already.
Yeah, today's games are okay, so it's like if we go through with our initial thoughts from the beginning of the series, like, for example, the Yankees could lose today because the Blue Jays could pick up their 24th win on the 24th day, but we've been thinking all series that the Blue Jays would win 2 or 3 and get that 39th loss because New York's 39. New York's not a great payout today, though.
Yeah, I put them in a parlay. I did one. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do it the other way. I'll do the same bet, but I take the Blue Jays in that parlay. You know what I mean?
So you're running it both ways?
Yeah, you think Toronto. Tell me this. Out of all the games, tell me where you think it could go either way, but you could get a price. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
like
so let's do
it. You could get a price, but if not, I'll just parlay it the other way. So I'm going to take the teams I really like, and then on one of the other ones, I'm going to do the bet twice. So
okay.
One of my parlays, I did pick the Yankees today. I did that with the Tigers, and I did it with the hockey too. Okay,
so let's just play devil's advocate with the Tigers game. I do like the Tigers, but the thing that could go wrong there is if the Rays win today, they get their 37th win, and Detroit is 37 in the most pure cipher. So that's one thing to consider about that game. But I still like the Tigers because the 24 will hit on both sides.
Okay.
The Royals do have a good shot to win today because, again, the Red Sox can stay on 32 wins. That's the overlap number with both cities. Kansas City, Boston, both 32.
Okay.
I think
that's where I'm going to go. Then I'm going to do something with that game because just looking at that line, where's the money on that? Hey, and that's what I meant to ask you. When you look at that website, how do you tell where the money is? You know what I'm saying? Is it where the cash is?
You got to click on it. You got to click on it.
Money's going.
You got to click on it. So, like right now, the up-to-minute thing is 86% of the money's on Tampa Bay. So if you go to that website, can you see my screen right now?
Your screen is usually pretty small. What I'm going to do it's called pregame.com, right?
Right. So one of the categories is cash with a percentage after it. And what you want to do is go to that and don't look at the percentages that's on the first screen. You got to click. You got to click on it, and then it gives you the stats.
I'm in there now. Let me see if I can figure this out real quick. No, that's not what I want. Oh, here it is. Okay, so down here I'm going to click on MLB.
Well, usually you don't even have to click on anything because usually just on the front page it has just all the day's games.
Well, it's only got part of them. It'll tell me view full game center.
Okay.
Where's that game at? What game were we just talking about? We talking about Boston?
Well, we can look at Boston too. So yeah.
Okay, so right now I see the Boston is minus 150. That's what this site says. So how do you get on there though? Because I don't see. If I just click on that.
So once you see the game, if you're on your phone, you might have to scroll left and right until you see the column that says cash with percentage at the top.
Oh, here it is. Okay, I see a cash. I see cash. Right now it says 64%. Is that on Boston?
So click on that number. Click on that area.
Where, I gotcha. I gotcha.
And then,
okay, so it says, what does it say though?
It should show that 64% is on Boston and 36% is on Kansas City with $55,000 in bets in.
I got the 55, and then it shows, okay, so 64% is on Boston and 36% is on KC. Okay.
Right.
All right, now I know how to read this. See, yesterday I was looking at it, and I wasn't sure because I was, putting parlays together. So I was like, well, I'm going to go on the ones I'm not as certain. I'm going to look at where the money's at. So that's usually a good sign if you do see an upset, you think?
Well, when the games get real lopsided, it's usually a good sign. So the Kansas City game's not real lopsided. What is right now is the Tampa Bay Tigers game. So.
Okay, yeah, and that's what you were just talking about. All right. So that other, the Kansas City, maybe I'll play with that because then out of the games today, maybe you like Kansas City possibly to upset, and then the Tigers. Would that be maybe your two upsets today? You think?
I think those are the most likely. So just, again, other games that would pay well today. If the Blue Jays won again, obviously that would pay well, but the concern is they can get that 39th loss against New York, plus New York can get their 18th away win in their 61st game. And then the other one is the Marlins and the Brewers again. The Marlins do have a chance to get their 24th win on the 24 date, just like Toronto. But if they lose today, they get their 37th loss. Milwaukee's 37. Plus today's the 157th day of the year, the 37th prime. So the Yankees and the Brewers games are pretty much the exact same scenario. I should mention, so St. Louis has kind of been a ball breaker team this year. Not anywhere as bad as the Mariners lately, but the Cardinals do have a decent riddle today. If the Reds lose, they get their 18th away loss in their 61st game, and the Cardinals would pick up their 31st win on this 31 date. So you can take a look at that Cardinals game too. That they do have the better riddle. It's just I've been burned a few times on the Cardinals this year, so I'm careful with it.
But it's the Reds, so I mean, I'm kind of feeling that too. The Cardinals.
Yeah,
especially when there's a riddle for the Reds to lose,
Sure. That's your city, Cincinnati.
Yeah, it is, man.
So.
Been a lot of Reds games of mine when I was a kid. And one of the things I was mentioning before is pretty funny. So you had that Yankees game tagged yesterday, right? You nailed it. Well, it's funny. The guy that started for the Blue Jays, I think Thornton was his name.
Right.
It's funny because they had to tell you that the first 9 batters that he faced, of course, he got them out, right?
Right.
And, he retired the first 9 batters yesterday, and they made a big deal about that because yesterday at 23 gate numerology, 23 is the 9th prime. That winning streak, stopped at 9, right?
Right. Exactly.
In the top of the 4th, he retired the 10th and 11th batter, which makes sense, because those are 2 numbers connected to New York. And then the 12th batter, hit a home run for the Yankees. It's just so funny, man, because you just see so totally what they're doing.
Well, hey, about that, Yankees equals 37, which is the 12th prime. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that makes sense too. I just saw it as okay. He got through 10 and 11, so now what's going to happen? Yeah. And then that was the 12th guy hit it out of the ballpark. But
yep, Yankees got the 37.
I'm going to get these in, man. I got like 5 minutes, so it gives me something to go off of.
All right, man. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Take care.
And sorry about the Braves yesterday. He's who called in and said, what 2 games should I structure these riskier picks around? And I said Braves and Mets. The Mets did fine, but the Braves got beat, man. And they had a good riddle yesterday. But, I mean, you can't be shocked. Sometimes good riddles don't come through. So he's working, so he misses out on the early morning games a lot, because yesterday the early morning games were where we thought. Okay, but Twins and Indians, we haven't gotten to that game yet. That's the one we haven't gotten to. Okay, so the Indians now lead the Twins 3-2. If the Indians lost today, they would be 3-3. And Cleveland's 33. That stands out. Caller?
Exact. Indians can also sweep the Twins. Twins is 22.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. To play devil's advocate, in light of it being the 79th day of the year, the 22nd prime, Twins could break up that sweep, getting their 22nd away win.
Right.
The other thing that could go against the Indians today is if they lost, they'd be 31-31 on the 31 date numerology.
So did you see that? Did you see that yesterday in that game? The Twins were winning, and then there was a delay, and then Indians came back after the delay and won that game last night.
I missed it because I was doing the graduation thing yesterday. So
yeah, it was so crazy because the Twins were up like 6-5, and then all of a sudden the Indians went up 8-5 or 8-6. Yeah, it's like they scripted it so well for the Indians to win that game yesterday.
Yeah, well, I believe it. I mean, I've seen it 1,000 times before, so.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Indians yesterday in one of my parlays, so I mean,
nice.
It worked out, but it's just so funny because I was looking at it, I was like, oh, man, I'm going to lose this parlay because the Indians, and then I checked back later, an hour later, and they were winning. I was like, wow, this is so crazy.
Isn't it funny? You can get the best and worst feelings from this. Sometimes you think your day is great, your team's up 5 runs with 4 innings left, and then they lose the game, and then sometimes you get the miracle comeback. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. One of those games yesterday, I forgot which one. Oh, the A's game, right? So the A's and the Angels were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then all of a sudden, the A's were almost going to win it, and then the Angels won it. It's just
wasn't the score 10-9 yesterday? Is that what it was in extra innings? I think I saw that.
10-9.
Los Angeles is 109.
So crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, dude.
All right. Appreciate it. Okay. So. Yeah, I should make the note here about how the Indians could sweep Twins. Indians could sweep Twins. Twins equals 22. Sweep equals 22. 79th day of the year. 22nd prime. But that's hard to bank on with that 31 date numerology there. 31-31 and being 3-3. In Cleveland, 33 land. Remember, the Cavs were the 33rd team to be down 3-1 in the NBA Finals, the first ever to win it. So James is 33, of course. They won it on the real King James's birthday. All right, Yankees, Blue Jays, 39, the biggest number for New York. So if the Blue Jays lose today, they pick up their 39th loss. Also, the Yankees, again, it's their 61st game. They can get the 18th away win. Don't forget it was Roger Maris who played for the Yankees, 61-61, baseball 18. If Hap won, he'd be 6-3. Toronto's 36 in both reduction ciphers. The reflection of 36 is 63. Kind of like how the Warriors fell to 6-3 at home yesterday against Toronto. And there still is a riddle for the Blue Jays. If the Blue Jays win, they get their 24th win on the 24 date, and they sweep. Sweep equals 23 like Blue Jays. So if the sweep was going on yesterday's date numerology, I'd be more about it. Today doesn't have the sweep date numerology, but it is the 79th day of the MLB season. Sweep's also 22. 79 is the 22nd prime. But initial thoughts are usually good ones, and the initial thought was that the Blue Jays would win the first 2 games and probably not win this one. That's what I've been saying since before the series began. So notice the Yankees can also stay on 22 losses on this 79th day of the year. But again, I mean, the risk is anytime a team can get the win or the loss that lines up with the date numerology, it's there. Sometimes that just trumps all the other riddles. So the Blue Jays aren't out of the question. It's just 39 in New York is just so consistent. It's really hard to go against. And actually, let me see who the Blue Jays play next, because maybe there's another clue there. Caller?
Yeah, what's going on, Zach?
Hey, man.
Yeah, I noticed, like you said, your initial thought is normally right. So I was just saying you need to just stick, because I remember when you said whoever with the Indians game, whoever win yesterday will win today. And you know what I mean? You kind of like off of it today. So I don't know. I feel like you should just follow like the first thought with the Braves and the Pittsburgh. You said Braves will win 2 out of 3. You know what I mean? And that's still alive. Even though you got that one game wrong yesterday, I just feel like you should, you know what I mean? Just stick with your initial thought.
You're right. And I had a teacher growing up who always taught me that. So I always think of him. But
yeah. And another thing too with your initial thought, I noticed that you said when the series, because you've been doing this for a long time, when the series follow the date numerology, normally you said the third day always will break off.
yeah.
So I noticed that you keep saying that the Blue Jays and the Marlins have, but you're not, you know what I mean? Your initial thought was always saying that this series have been following the date numerology the last 2 days. So the third day, you always said it normally breaks.
It usually does. So, yeah, it is true. I do favor the Brewers and the Yankees today, but I mean, there's still the chance there that it could go the other way. So.
Okay. And another thing, too, with this series, it's down to you pick them. I know you're big on Golden State, and you've been big on Golden State, but just if it's anything, like if you see with the Raptors narrative of winning, you feel me? Because I'm about to make a substantial bet, another big one on the series. So I don't know about the injuries, if you just feel some type of way. I know you're not coming off Golden State pick, but I do want to be aware of any riddles with the Drake or anything, you know what I mean, before I put my money on. Because after Friday, if they tied up 2-2, it's going to go way back up. So right now you can get the Warriors that are you pick them -110 to win the series. So I just wanted to know before I do that bet, do you still feel 100%, 99 like you've been feeling about them?
I still like the Warriors a lot. And something I would advise that you do real quick that I've just been doing game by game, but it's probably going to go to Game 7, Father's Day, Del Curry. The only way I could see the riddle going to Toronto is if it's about the father and the fact that he played for Toronto and never Golden State, but I don't think so. I mean, it's the 73rd NBA season. His son's born on the 73rd day of the year. Like I said, the Warriors win the finals. They win their 73rd game. And if it does go to Game 7, that would keep the Raptors on.
You've been preaching. Yeah, right. I've been hearing that, but I just wanted to make sure, like with the Drake birthdays, his riddle.
Here, let's do it. Here, I'm going to hang up the phone right now so I can use both hands, and let's just measure from the key guys' birthdays to Game 7. That's probably where it's going, and let's just see if anything pops out. Sound good?
All
right. Let's do it real quick. So Game 7's June 16th. Let me make sure. NBA final. It is. It's here. What day is Father's Day? We know it's Father's Day. What day is Father's Day 2019? It should be June 16th. Okay, there we go. And let me make sure there's nothing I'm missing about June 16th. 167th day of the year. Now, that is the 39th prime. Drake does equal 39. Okay. Is Drake a father? He probably is. I don't know if he is. Probably is. But I'm still thinking, let's see. Let's measure. Caller?
Hey, Zach, I'm just on point with you. Hey, I'm gonna hang up too. Can you do Vince Carter name too? Birthday too.
Vince Carter to that day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, because he was drafted by the Warriors and played for Toronto. Got it.
Yep. All right. Bye.
All right. Okay, so we're measuring to June 16th. We're gonna measure from all the key people here. So June 16th, 2019. All right, Steph Curry's birthday is March 14th. I assume everybody knows that, the 73rd day of the year, Pi Day. So it's 94 days after his birthday or his 95th day of his age. And we've talked about that because Warriors equals 95. Also, the Raptors were established in 95. So if I count the span, it's 95 days. 95th day of his age, or 94 days after his birthday. Also, 3 months and 3 days, NBA Finals 33. And again, he's the whole reason that I like the Warriors this year, because it's the 73rd NBA season. He took his team to the win record of 73. And again, we pegged those wins at 57 so they could do this whole 73 thing. So plus NBA Finals is 57. The Warriors won 57 in the regular season. All right, Kawhi Leonard. I don't remember his birthday. Let me see. Is it June 29th? Okay. So, well, his birthday will be 13 days after, but from his last birthday. Caller?
Hey, Zach, I don't. Are you? I thought you were talking about baseball. Did you get switched over to basketball?
I'm going to come back to those games just because they start later today. I'm going to finish baseball. I'm not done.
Okay. Well, the reason that I asked is because if you're doing basketball right now, I don't want to interrupt you. I just had I think I have a good point about the Reds Cardinals game.
Okay.
So I could call back if you're busy.
No, go ahead, because we were doing baseball. The game just started, so yeah, hit us.
Yeah. Okay. So Reds Cardinals. If the Cardinals lose today, they become 30-30, like 33. The abbreviation for Cincinnati Reds, CR, equals 33. And if the Cardinals lose 2 in a row, they lose today, they'll be 30-30, and then tomorrow they could lose again and be 30-31 on 6-7, like 331 to 67th time. Now today, I just started getting a little bit more bigger on this, I guess. But anyway, so today, the manager for the Cardinals, his name is Mike Schilt. Today is exactly 43 weeks after his birthday, 14th prime, and both teams, I think the Cardinals are going for their 14th home loss, and I believe that the Cincinnati Reds are going for their 14th away win. So that makes a lot of sense. And then for the Reds manager, David Bell, it's a span of 101 days left in the year for his birthday. 101, 26 prime, Reds equal 26. So I don't know. I just feel like that might be a little bit of a riddle going on for the Reds.
All right, well, I'll keep an eye on that. All that stuff's a little bit more abstract, because usually just straight away in your face, it's like Reds 61st game, 18th prime, they can get the 18th away loss. Cardinals can pick up the 31st win on the 31 days.
It's very hard to go against that. You're right. But yeah, okay, man. All right, I'll talk to you.
All right. I appreciate it, though. Good work.
Yep.
All right, thanks. All right, so you see some narratives for the Reds. And like I said, the Cardinals have been a bit of a ball breaker this year. They were that game. They were the team that blew that perfect riddle in the 9th inning the other week on Sunday Night Baseball, where the guys yelled out, "The script is completely flipped." Okay. All right. So I was measuring. Okay. So I did just see something with Kawhi Leonard that's really interesting. Kawhi Leonard, the NBA Finals will end on his 353rd day of his age, which is the 71st prime. And Toronto Raptors does equal 71. Caller?
Hey, Zach, what's going on?
What's up, man?
After Cincinnati.
Perfect timing.
I'm liking all the Cincinnati callers. I'm liking the last 2 callers, too, that called about Toronto. I'm glad you switched over to that. I'm sticking with it. I don't know if you got my text messages, but yeah, it's going to 7. I'm actually going to try and find a way up there to go to that game, too. Something I just looked at, and I'm online now. So I subtracted 73 days from Father's Day.
Okay.
7 is a key number.
Okay.
And then I went to go look and see 7 letters in Toronto, 7 letters in Raptors. I went to go look at the rosters of both teams. Shit, that's the wrong thing. All right, I'm pulling up Toronto now. So you subtract 73 days from Father's Day, that's April 4th, 4-4. Pascal Siakam was born 2 days before in 94. His number is 43. 4 and 3 is 7. That's that's all I got from Toronto. But Kyle Lowry is number 7. Danny Green, who I told you was going to make the shot to win the series, 14. Divide that by 7, you get 2. So I'm going to go Golden State. One person was born on the 4th of a month, and that was Draymond Green. His number is 23. I told you that's not necessarily a good number. There was somebody else. Oh, and the number 7 is in Jordan Bell's birthday, January 7th, 1-7. He was born in 95. He's number 2. Kawhi is number 2. So, I don't know. But something says subtract 73 from Father's Day, because you keep bringing up Father's Day.
Father's Day even equals 73.
Oh, okay. Steph Curry was born March 14th, so half of that 7, number 30. Yeah, that's really all I got. I don't want to inundate you with everything else I've been trying to call you about. I'll get you later for that. But yeah, Raptors in 7, man. Oh, 94. Speaking of 1994, because me and my folks in Houston have been talking about, you know, the narratives and whatnot, and what's the better story, and how the media, you know, goes. Oh, before I get into that, going back to the caller that called in about, because we talked about the whole even money thing too, and he mentioned that to you. That's true. Vegas made them even because they want to try and balance it out. They want to try and but they're not going to be able to. There's way too much money on Golden State. Even if they giving you even money for Toronto, they thinking it's going to be a tidal wave of money that's going to come in on Toronto by doing that. And it's not. It's going to stay on Golden State. So, and they're going to absorb that. Vegas is going to win. They're going to absorb all of that because they're going to have to pay off all these other underdogs that's about to come up in football and everything else. So, they're going to absorb this Golden State money. Yeah, that's all I got. What was I pulling up? Yeah, that's all I got, man. I'm going to let you get back to the rest of your callers and baseball stuff, but you might be able to find something from there. Oh, Houston. I'm sorry, 94, right? So, the Rockets played the Knicks in 94, the 94 finals. That series went 7 games, and it ended in Houston. Something that I saw, because there's similarities to like, I forget what I typed in, 99 and not necessarily basketball, but just 99 and 94 came up. Damn, what did I type in? Let me see if I can see this real quick. Because I was doing stuff on the Belmont Stakes. I saw something that had to do with, maybe it had to do with date. That's what it was. That's what it was. Let me type this in real quick and make sure that that's what it was. June 8th. That's Saturday. The show was. Okay, so when you type in June 8th, it's the 159th day in the Gregorian calendar, 206 days remaining to the end of the year. Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson. These are events. 1994 NBA Finals, 1999 Stanley Cup Finals. So I clicked on the 99 Stanley Cup Finals first, saw Brett Hull was the series winning goalie or whatever, right? Dallas Stars won the championship. Brett Hull has to do with the St. Louis Blues, apparently.
Right.
I don't watch hockey, but I'm reading all these little tea leaves. And then I clicked on the NBA Finals 94, saw that the Rockets won. They beat the Knicks. It went 7 games. And I scrolled down to look at the scores.
Okay.
And what you'll notice, what you saw last night, is that the Warriors scored 109 points in back-to-back games, in a win and in a loss. Okay? The Knicks did this. They didn't do the exact same thing, but they did score the exact amount of points. So I'm going to run these off to you. The Knicks scored 78 in a loss, 91 in a win in game 2.
Okay.
89, game 3, loss. 91, game 4, win. So that's twice. They scored 91. Game 5, 91, win. It's 3 times they scored the same. And then 84, loss, game 6. 84, loss, game 7.
I'd have to go back and run the gematria. I'm sure there's some connection there to the teams that they kept hitting those numbers.
Yeah. So that just kind of jumped out at me. But yeah, man, I was enjoying my little quesadilla brisket at Applebee's, just kicking my feet up watching it. I wasn't even really watching the game. I was doing my homework on other stuff, because I knew Curry was going to go off. I think we talked about that. I told you, Curry was going to go off. It was something about 23. That number 23 was key, and he went off. I'm like, yeah, good. Have a great game. Do your best. Yeah, do all that career high playoff stuff. That wasn't no surprise because it lined up. But
right.
The team lost. That's what we needed. But yeah, man, I'll let you get back to it. I know I done took up too much time, but I'll call you later.
All right, appreciate it, man.
All right, no doubt.
Caller?
Yeah, what's going on, Zach? I got 2 things before you get back into it. That long call you just took. Vince Carter, the day before that game, or the day of game 3, he made an announcement that he was going to do one more run for his last season, and it'll be his 22nd season. And then another thing that I just seen, Warriors, they're kicking, they banned one of their owners. So he's an investor. He got investment in the Warriors, but he got into an altercation. He pushed Kyle Lowry, and they say he can't attend no more Warriors games. So, and this is actually minority owner of the Warriors. His name is so if you can look into the article, I'm thinking you'll find something.
Okay. All right. I will look into
appreciate
it. Thanks, man. So Vince Carter's coming back at age 42. That means he's going to play until he's 43 years old if he plays all of next season. Toronto up on the 43rd parallel. Okay, so the finals are on Carter's 142nd day of his age. Let me see here. 141 days, 142 after Vince Carter's birthday. If you guys wonder why I do that with my notes, it means 141 days after 142nd day of the age. It's probably small on your screen, but here, let me zoom it in. So far, just running these birthdays to the finals. I noticed that both Durant and Curry have a 95 connection to Game 7. Warriors is 95, and again, Toronto's been in the league since 1995. What's up, caller?
Hey, just a quick point as well. You might have mentioned this because you're pretty good with this. But just for the Yankees Blue Jays series real quick, the Yankees, the Blue Jays can get their 39th off. The next team that the Blue Jays play is the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Arizona equals 39.
Sure does.
It's a fitting team to go in on with 39 offers. Yeah. So yeah, just another point just wanted to make real quick, but I'll let you get back to it.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, take care.
Yeah, Arizona and New York are the only 2 states that sum to 39 in the most pure cipher. Going in on those 39 to face them would make some sense because you do see a lot of teams come in with a number that connects to the next series. But he does make a good point that if they didn't pick it up today, they could pick it up against Arizona. All right, hold on. Let me finish lining up all these key individuals. So Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. I guess I should look at Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's September 27th. How do I forget that? 262 days after Kerr's birthday. What's 263? That's a prime number, isn't it? Isn't it the 56th prime? Whoa, what happened there? 263, 56th prime. The 109 thing, the fact that the Warriors keep scoring 109, it's tripping me out. It's the 29th prime number, and I'm not exactly sure. Kerr's 29. Kerr's also 56. Okay. So we see why the alignment's that way with Kerr. Who else? I got Curry, Durant, Thompson, Green, Kerr. Is there anybody else I should be doing for the Warriors? All right, Leonard. Let me see Kyle Lowry. All right. Well, I can't type. Got him anyway. March 25th. March 25th. So 83 days or 84. All right, let's see. 3 days after Lowry's birthday. 84. Okay, Siakam. I think it's like that. April 2nd. So far for the Raptors, the most interesting thing is Kawhi Leonard. No surprise there. He's got quite an alignment. 75 days after Siakam's birthday. All right. So I do think this is going Game 7, Father's Day. Am I missing Del Curry? I forgot to do Del Curry. His birthday is somewhere right around the finals. June 25th. He's got the George Orwell birthday. Okay. He's 54 years old, too, just like how the finals began on the 54 date, Oracle 54. Let's see. June 25th. It's 9 days. I think that means it's 356 days after his birthday. Is that right? 356, okay. And it's 357 prime. That's what I need to know. No. Okay. Oh, I guess I should check that coach, Nick Nurse. There's July 24th. Caller?
Hey, Zach, what's going on?
What's up?
So just a quick question real quick. So I know that you've been on Golden State the whole year, and now that this Father's Day is kind of coming into play, I know that you have it probably going to 7, more than likely. But since it's such a big tribute to Golden State and everything, don't you feel like it would make a little bit more sense if it ended in Oracle Arena?
Well, it could end in Game 6. It's just, man, Del Curry played for the Raptors, and it just seems that it's going there. So,
because one thing I did observe, and I was with you on the Father's Day too. I was liking that as well. But one thing I did observe recently was that Game 6 is exactly 13 weeks from Curry's birthday. And if you write GSW, the Golden State abbreviation, that equals 13. And there's like a 58 connection as well, because I think that date numerology is 58 also.
Okay. Let me see. I have all those notes here for the date numerology. So where's it at? Where did I put it at? Oh, Game 5. Okay. 55, 28, 19. Oh, no, it'll be Game 6. Game 6 is 58, 31, 22. Yeah, that's the big Oracle date. Or Oakland's 58, 31, 22. Yeah, we looked at that. It's possible. It could end there. The thing about Toronto right now is they're at 41 home wins, and if they didn't win another, they'd again Oakland and Golden State's 41. So it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible it ends in Game 6. But man, the thing about the Father's Day thing is the alignment is really nice with the star players. Again, it's Curry's 95th day of his age. Warriors is 95. It's 95 days from Durant's upcoming birthday. And then Kawhi Leonard, it's his 353rd day of his age, the 71st prime, and Toronto Raptors is 71. So,
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a connection regardless of game possibility. There's always going to be a connection there. But, I also saw that Donald Trump's birthday is the day after Game 6.
whose birthday is that? Whose birthday's after
Donald Trump.
Who?
Donald Trump.
Oh, Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Okay. Donald Trump. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
So his birthday is the day after. So I don't know if there's a connection there, but I just think it's way more symbolic for them to win everything. The last game in Oracle, I just feel like that has a lot more meaning.
Sure. It is possible it ends there. I think if Warriors win the next one like I'm expecting and lose that game, and Toronto loses in Toronto, it very well could end in 6. So it's possible.
Yeah, because I remember you were partially on that also because of the Canada connection, the 2-4, and
right.
like that previously.
Right. Yeah. I was able to make arguments for Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7. Game 5's off the table, so. Yeah, I just keep thinking about the Del Curry piece though. So
yeah, I do too. But the thing that kind of takes me off of that is just the Kawhi Leonard father connection,
right?
Because I feel like that tribute already happened for him when he won in Game 7. I think it was in 2014 or 2013.
The other day, I don't know if you were here and we did the live stream, but we looked at that, and he had a perfect alignment with that Father's Day MVP with the death of the father. And that alignment, there's no alignment like that for this time around. So he might have, already gotten his whole father sacrifice MVP ritual thing in the past, like you just said.
And the crazy thing, his father died in California too.
Compton, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Zach. I'm going to keep paying attention. I just wanted to run that by you.
All right. I appreciate it.
I'm going.
Okay. So anyway, I still like the Warriors. We're trying to see what game it makes sense to end in. These alignments between the star players with Father's Day, to me, are pretty impressive. So I personally do think it's going to Father's Day right now. I could make an argument for Game 6. If the Warriors beat them 4-2, the Raptors would go down 2-4, 24th season, Canada 24. It's all there. The one thing that would shock me, though, is if the Raptors won the series. So that's the other thing about the Raptors losing in Game 7. They finished the season on 73 wins. The Warriors pick up their 73rd win. That's the ultimate 73 tribute. Year after year, I call these rig sports, months, seasons in advance by looking at what the season count is and how the riddles, factor in with those numbers. So, if it's all about Kawhi Leonard on Father's Day again, I mean, it could be. I mean, it's possible. But Kawhi Leonard doesn't have the 73 connection like Steph Curry does. So let me see what they're saying about Durant now. He was supposed to come back for Game 2. See, to me, the caller who likes Toronto, when he was talking about how they're trying to get the money on Toronto, like, as he's saying, I'm like, and you still like Toronto as you're saying this? Because to me, it's like, yeah, they're trying to bait people to put money on Toronto. Not because they're going to win the series, but just because they want to get more money so they don't have to pay out as much to the people who bet the Warriors. All Warriors have a losing record versus Kawhi Leonard except Kevin Durant. Let's just see this article here. Leonard has 15 wins and 17 losses during his professional career when facing off against Kevin Durant. So the next game will be the 33rd game between these two teams, or between these two players. Go figure. NBA Finals 33. Okay. Kawhi Leonard has record for best winning percentage of all time. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, when Durant comes back, just remember 35 again. It's Raptors 35. So King James 35. Remember he made LeBron 3 and 5 in the NBA Finals that first time they met. So anyway. You're not going to hear me come off the Warriors until they're eliminated, and I don't think it's going to happen. So today, just from doing that little analysis, though, I gotta lean towards the Game 7. Caller?
Hey, Zach.
What's up?
Have you gotten to the NHL playoff game today yet?
Well, I talked about it briefly, but we haven't decoded it. We haven't gone over everything. But I'm thinking the Blues at 59 season wins and 14 playoff wins, where Blues is 59 and 14 and our two most simple ciphers. I'm thinking they're not going to win any more games. That's if they win another one, I'll be proven wrong. But I'm thinking they're done right there, 59 and 14.
Yeah, and if they don't win another game, like I mentioned before, Bennington gets that 13 and 3 record, like the score of the Super Bowl, 13-3.
Right.
Because before the series started, my prediction was the Bruins win games 1-3, 5-6, and I switched off of that last game, and I'm pretty pissed at myself that I did.
Right.
But so, like, if personally, I feel like these two games are going to the Bruins. So I've been diving into the score a little bit. 3-1 is very interesting. Like, I'm pretty sure Tuukka Rask only gives up 1 goal today, because that would put him at 43 goals for the playoffs. Bruins equals 43 in production.
And 43 is the 14th prime, and Blues is 14. So, yeah.
Yeah. But 3-1 and 5-1 are the two scores I think are the most possible. And Boston Bruins equals 51, Blues equals 31.
Right.
So the last time the Bruins won 3-1 against the Blues was 490 days ago. Stanley Cup final equals 227, in reverse ordinal, the 49th place.
Huh.
And the series goals would be 18-11 or 11-18. That could be an August 11th virtual or whatever. And then if it's 5-1, and here's where it gets a little tricky. If it's 5-1, and this score I only see happening if Bruins are to score on the empty netter, and Bennington only gives up 4 goals. Because Boston Bruins are Bruins equals the 62nd prime in the Satanic cipher, and Bennington would have given up 62 goals. And the series goals would be 20-11, 211. Blues, I'm pretty sure, are getting their 211th loss, if I'm correct.
Right. Their next loss is their 211th playoff loss, right?
Yeah, which is the 47th prime, and then 47 is the 15th prime. Score of 1-5, 5-1.
That could be it today. Boston Bruins 51 on a 51 date.
Yeah, 51 date numerology and 31 date numerology.
Yeah.
And since we did get that last game wrong, I just looked at the total goals since Blues won 4-2. It was really funny whenever I looked at it, because the dates written 3-6 or 6-3. And it was 15-10, 151, the 36 prime, 3/6.
Huh. Amazing.
So they'll line up the series goals with a certain riddle, but it takes a lot of time to figure out the score. I've been working on the scores since the end of last game. And I think, personally, Bruins are going to cover -1.5. The only possible score I've seen opposite that they don't cover that is 7-6, which I don't even think will happen, because the goaltenders have been really good this series.
Sure. I'd keep an eye on that pregame for how the money lays, because I have seen where it gets really out of whack where they don't cover, so that way they don't have to pay out. Right? It could change a lot, but right now 86% of the money's on Boston. I think that does make a difference on the spread, so cover or not.
I mean, I'm sticking with Bruins winning 3-1 or 5-1, covering the -1.5.
Sure. Well, it makes a lot of sense. Go with your guns. I just always think it's safer to go money line so you can't get beat on the spread just in case.
I mean, I'm going both.
Okay, there you go.
What I'll probably do is, I believe the money line is like 155. This is just an example. This is probably not my actual numbers. So I'll put like 155 on the money line to win 100. Then I'll take that 100 and then just put it on the spread. So that way, if they don't cover, I break even. If they do cover, I profit big time.
Right. There you go. There you go. Yeah, nice.
To me, that's the safe play today.
I think that's a smart strategy.
Yeah. So I just wanted to call in and let you know that. Also, I'm going Warriors in 7 over the Raptors.
I think that's a smart call too, because then you get the double 73 tribute in the records.
Yeah. And then you're on Curry getting the MVP, right?
How does he not, man? He's Mr. 73. So
I mean, they might give it to Kevin Durant.
If he comes back and plays. But then they'd say, well, it's possible he comes in and dominates the rest of the series when he comes back. But Curry will be the only player that was there the whole time. So
yeah, that is true. But I just find it hard for Curry to get MVP whenever he's putting up 50 points a game and not winning. Put up 47 last game and they didn't win.
Well, you know why he put up 47.
Yeah.
So
I mean, 47 is 47.
Right.
It's just that one number that they always go to.
Again, it's their 47th year in Oakland. They raised the banner for that on April 7th, 4-7, a week after they beat their opponent by 47 points the day Nipsey Hussle died. And then also the Philadelphia Warriors won the first championship in 47. So his first game in Oakland last night for the finals.
I'm thinking I feel like the Warriors are going to, in the game that they win, if it does end in Game 6, I feel like they'll score 106 points since it's the last game in Oracle, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very possible. 108 or 106 are both safe calls because 108 is also Oracle. So
yeah, I feel like they score 108 or 106 in Game 6. That's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, well, I'm going to let you get back to these decodes because I got some stuff I need to go do.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, see you. Bye.
All right, good work. Okay, so let me see where we were. Kind of skipping around today. So Barrios for the Twins, or was it something there? The one thing for Bauer today with the Indians is he could stay on 52 losses for his career. Minnesota's 52, or he could pick up his 51st loss with Cleveland on a 51 day. So it's a little bit conflicted there with that pitcher. The caller earlier said that I said that the Indians would either win two in a row or the Twins would win 2 in a row. I'm pretty sure I said that the first day of the series, though. I don't think I said that yesterday. And now the Indians, they did win 2 in a row, right? So I don't believe I said that yesterday. Oh, wait. Yeah, I did. I take it back. I remember what I said now. I forgot my thought. I'm glad you did. Okay, good. So you guys, forgive me. Sometimes just keeping track of all these numbers, sometimes I let some things slip through the cracks. What I was saying yesterday is if the Indians won 2 more in a row, they could get to 32 wins, or they could get to 32 losses because Twins is 32. But what I slept on yesterday, what I didn't think about is how we have the 31 date numerology. So if the Indians lost, the 31 is there. Okay, yeah, he was right. Oh, man. Yeah, so yesterday when I was saying that, I did not think about the 31 and 31 thing. The other thing about 31 is the 11th prime. The other way that could go for the Twins is they could stay on 11 away losses. So I can't say that I'm thrilled about today's game, thinking about it more. If the Indians win, he's going to be lecturing me tomorrow. I told you to stick with your original thought. He said, yeah, I know you're right, man. I know you're right. But sometimes things come up that you don't see until you actually crunch all the numbers for that day. So again, I think you guys have all mostly done well the last 2 days. So Some days good to just take a breath and go, okay, the riddles are a little bit tighter today. Again, Yankees and Blue Jays, we said from the, or at least I said, I like those Blue Jays to win those first 2 games. They got it done and then peel off today and break with the numerology pattern. If the Blue Jays won today, which is possible, they could get their 24th win on the 24 date, but I'm thinking that 39's coming home, the New York number. And Yankees would pick up their 18th away win in the 61st game. Problem is New York is not a good payout today. Caller?
Yeah, Zach, this Chris.
What's up, man?
What's going on? Indians and Twins game. I'm pretty nice. I'm probably stay away from that game. I like the over, but the weather looks like it's not going to be that good. That game might go under today.
I see the line right now is -110. Minnesota equals 110, which is an interesting number. So, okay.
Yeah, I was looking at the over, but it's like 59% the weather, so the weather might be bad. Might be it's gonna be the weather not gonna be too good today.
Could even get rained out. Could be a rainout game.
Under might be good for this game.
Sure. Well, you know what though? If you pay attention in baseball, sometimes when it starts raining and they keep playing, that's when runs get put up because the defense starts screwing up and the pitcher can't get his grip on the ball. So sometimes you play in bad weather, there actually ends up being more runs.
Oh, okay, because they got the runs at 8. They've been breaking the runs the last couple of games though.
Right. And I'll tell you what, in baseball, man, it's not like football. In football, bad weather, the scoring is usually lower. But in baseball, that's usually sometimes the runs get up in those games. So.
You say you like the and that Cubs and Rockies game. I'm going with the over in that game.
Okay, I'm not good with over and under, so you got to go with your gut there. That's not my expertise.
Yeah, because remember yesterday I had a strong feeling that the Rockies was gonna win, but I didn't put the Rockies plus. I didn't put the run line on one of my parlays. I had Cleveland. I had the Cubs on one, then I had the Rockies on one. I just ain't put the run line on it. That don't screw me up.
Well, you get it back next time.
Yeah, you told me the Blue Jays. I had the Nats, the Blue Jays, and then I had the O's. Man, the O's lost actually in his last night.
Oh, the Royals are getting up on the Red Sox right now. I don't know if you're doing the Royals today, but they had a good riddle. We'll see. It's early in the game.
I got the over in that game.
Okay.
I got the over in the Red Sox game, over 10 runs.
Okay.
That Rays and Tigers, I'm liking the Tigers too, but I got it both ways though. I got Rays on one, then I got Tigers on one.
It's probably a good way to go with that game.
Oh, you're looking at the Mets and Giants game. The Giants just took the lead.
I see that. It came back on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the over in that game though.
Okay.
You think the Reds? Some people think the Reds could win, but it's still 0-0 right now. But I still think the Cardinals gonna come through though.
Cardinals have a chance to put a run on the board right now. They got a runner on third and 2 outs. We'll see.
That Marlins and Brewers game, man. That young man been screwing me, man.
Uh-oh. You didn't take – oh, his call dropped. Well, if the Marlins Brewers screwed you, man, you didn't take my advice yesterday. That should have been the monster payout. Okay. See if he calls back. But let's see here. Oriole – where was I at? Okay, Yankees and Blue Jays I was talking about. Blue Jays got the date numerology riddle, but again, I'm going with the initial thought. I wouldn't bet the Yankees today personally. You know, you should have already done well in this Toronto series because Yankees aren't a good payout, and there is some risk there, but the 39s are probably going to come through. You know what, though? Man, as I say that, you know what I've been sleeping on this whole time is that the Yankees did get swept. Sweeps 23 and Blue Jays is 23. And I wasn't thinking about how if the Yankees got swept, they could get 23 losses. I got to put that note up here. Again, I have been saying all day I'm not betting the Yankees, but I don't know if the Blue Jays are worth the risk today. Yankees could get swept and get 23rd loss. Sweep equals 23. Blue Jays equals 23. It is the 79th day of the MLB season, though, the 22nd prime. So The Orioles, well, they didn't do the riddle right like I thought yesterday. So that made things goofy here. Their next away win would be their 12th. Rangers is 37, the 12th prime. 60. Rangers got a shot at that 22nd win. The Rangers did get no, that's not right. That's not right. They would have picked up their 11th home loss in their 31st game if it was the primes yesterday. I'll make this note, though. Orioles next away win is 12. Rangers equals 37, 12th prime. Okay. Yeah, I'm not thrilled about this game. What else do I have here? Let's see. The Rangers didn't win today. They would stay on 31 wins on the 31 date. Oakland has a chance to become 31 and 31. Oakland equals 31. Oakland equals 22 and 31. The Angels could pick up their 33rd loss on 6-6. When you write out 33, it equals 66. There's a strong pairing. We've talked about this before in sports, 33 and 66. So speaking of which, yesterday when the Braves lost, they became, did their record become 33? Yeah, they became 33 and 28 yesterday, the Braves. Remember when you write out 33 and 28 equals 156, it was the 156th day of the year. I talked about that yesterday, but I should have gave that more weight. I still thought the Braves had the better riddle, but that's why it's writing out some of these numbers as words. I know that some of the relationships come through. It's not true in all. So let's see here. Okay, was there any more with that game? If Fears got the win, he'd be 5 and 3 on the year. Los Angeles is 53. Could improve to 5 and 3 against Los Angeles. That's the A's pitcher. I'm seeing now that Skaggs could get his 31st loss with LA and his 37th career loss. 157th day of the year, 37th prime. So looking at the pitchers, things are more favorable for the Athletics today. The one thing that goes against the A's is the Angels are 4 and 5 versus Oakland this year. If they won, they'd be 5 and 5. Los Angeles is also 55. So I think overall the A's have better riddles today. Keeping track of that Gemini day count, it is this 17th day of Gemini, leaving 15 days remaining. And again, I'm not ready to make calls on games on that, but that if the Gemini day count, if the astrology day count is important, which I'm still tracking, the Angels, if the Angels won today, I'd definitely keep that in mind because they'd become 17 and 15 at home, just like the Gemini day count. But going off the variables that we typically go with, I think the A's have a slightly better riddle, but I do worry about Los Angeles getting to 5 and 5 versus the Athletics this year. That's another number that plays with LA is 55. So the pitcher riddles, though, definitely favor the Athletics. So the Nationals and Padres game, the Nationals got to 28 and 33 yesterday on that 156th day. Caller?
Yeah, Zach, this Chris again. The phone broke up.
Yeah, it's okay.
I hung up by itself.
That's okay. What's up?
Oh, the A's and the Angels game. I'm liking the A's. I'm liking the Angels in this game.
Okay. Well, what do you like about the Angels today?
I like the pitcher to get his 5th win today at home.
He would become 5 and 5. Los Angeles is 55, so it's possible. Yep.
And I like them to get their 31 win, their 31st win at home.
On the 31 date?
Yeah, on a 31 day.
The problem with that is the A's can also get it. They can become 31 and 31.
Yeah, because they almost got identical, the same records.
Right, right. This is a tough game right here.
I think I can do the under in this game too. I think this game go under too.
Okay.
They scored a lot of runs last night, and then the first game it wasn't too many runs, so this game might go under tonight.
Okay.
I can see that happening.
Something to consider about over and unders today. Today has 31 date numerology. That's the 11th prime. I wonder how many games we might see that are at 11 and also 12 runs just because the day plus the month, 6, 6, 12. So I won't be surprised if we see a lot of 11 scores today with the combined points.
Yeah, because that Baltimore and Texas game is supposed to be over 11 runs today. Because it didn't go over 11 last night, so I'm expecting everybody got the money on it going over today.
Okay. Also, the other thing about 11 is if you add 1 through 11 together, it equals 66, like how it's June 6, 6, 6.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Because I'm looking at this Nats and Padres game. I like San Diego to win today over Patrick Corbin because Patrick Corbin struggled last game.
Okay. Okay.
Because Padres got some good hitters like Machado in them. So
something I noticed about Corbin is it's going to be his 13th start with Washington. He could pick up his 6th win with Washington. 13's the 6th prime. Kind of like how the Warriors became 13 and 6 in the playoffs last night. So
yeah, because a lot of money, it's like 59% of the money line is on Washington right now.
Okay, okay.
But I like the over in this game too. It's like over 7 runs.
Okay. One other thing I noticed about today about this Padres and Washington game, just things to look out for. If the Padres lost, they'd pick up their 127th loss today, which is the 31st prime number, and we got this 31 date numerology. Also, the Padres are coming into this game 31 and 31. So go with your gut. I'm just saying I just see a few things on the board that worry me a little bit about the Padres winning. I'm not crazy about this game, but I see a couple riddles for Corbin and a Padres loss. So.
Because remember that time I told you that that Fields and Padres game, I had a feeling that the Padres was gonna win, but the Fields came back and won that game. It was a close game. It was close. It was a close game during the innings.
Right, I do remember.
And your Fields came, and your Fields came through, and I had the Fields on 1, and I had the Padres on 1.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a bad strategy when it's tight.
Yeah. That Yankees. I think the Yankees gonna. You think Blue Jays could complete the sweep tonight? I mean, I think the Yankees might win this one tonight, though.
The Blue Jays have a narrative to sweep today. Their narrative is picking up their 24th win on the 24-date numerology and giving the Yankees their 23rd loss because Blue Jays equals 23 and sweep equals 23. However, the number that screams out at me is the potential 39 because if the Blue Jays lose today, they get their 39th loss, and that's the number that's everything in New York is 39. So usually when I see a 39 on the board that can play with a New York team, I don't go against it. But Blue Jays do got a shot. So if you want to take a risk pick on the Blue Jays and then balance it out with some parlay that also has the Yankees winning, that might be a smart strategy with that game. The Blue Jays winning's not out of the question, but I am leaning Yankees. So.
Yeah, because they got a -200 on here, and a lot of people got the Yankees winning. 71% Yankees.
Sure, and all week a lot of people have had the Yankees winning, but I like the Blue Jays a lot the first 2 games. They won both of those, so I feel like we did well there. I feel like going on the Blue Jays today's playing with fire. It's possible, but not as likely as the last 2, so.
Oh, that Braves game, man. I liked that Braves game yesterday, man, but they didn't come through. I thought they was going to come back like they did the other 2 games, but they didn't come through.
That was the game that really surprised me yesterday, man. That game disappointed me, so.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, Pittsburgh is winning right now, but I went with the over in this game, though.
Okay.
They say it's going to be a push, though.
Okay.
So it's going to be even. So. I just went with that because the Braves burned me yesterday, so I just left that game and just went with the over.
All right, yeah. I heard you say you didn't take the Marlins to win yesterday.
No, I didn't take the Marlins, man. I thought I had a strong bet. I said, man, I think I'm going with the Brewers. I think they're going to not going to lose 2 straight in a row to the Brewers, man. But all the favorites lost last night. Like the Brewers lost, the Houston lost last night. I said, damn. I said, that's crazy.
Okay, so I know you're a newer caller. Again, maybe you've never heard me say this before. If you don't even do these deeper decodes like I do, and all you ever did for the rest of your life was just bet date numerology, you're going to win a whole lot more than you lose. You're going to lose on some of the date numerology games, but you're going to win a whole lot more than you lose. I guarantee you'll always be in the plus territory for the rest of your betting career. If all you ever did was just look at the date numerology and who can pick up the win with the date numerology. If you just kept it that simple, you would always stay in the plus territory. The reason I go deeper is because I'm always trying to figure out the games that don't follow the pattern and the reason why. And I can't say it's real consistent for the reasons why. But, man, that Marlins game yesterday, I wish you would have played that because that one was the monster payout, and there was a good riddle. There was a good riddle 2 days in a row when the Marlins took both of those games with great payouts. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was the only game that screwed me because I had that a 6. What was that? I had that a 5-team parlay because I had the over and the Cubs. I had the Angels winning, and then I had who else I had? I had the Texas Rangers won. So I guess that parlay right into except for I got the Houston Astros wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, so two parlays I could have won last night. The O's lost and the Houston Astros lost last night.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. We'll keep up the good work.
I just gotta look more deep into it.
Yeah, use that date numerology. It's the most consistent thing there is in the world of sports that I'm aware of. So.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
Sam.
All right, take care. All right, and I got to call a caller back because I thought he left me. He's a great caller and he hasn't called for a while. Oh, well, somebody else is calling right now. Hold on. Caller?
We're live. Good morning, Vic.
What's up?
This is Jack from Seattle. Hey, man, I have some data here for you. So on a pregame, looks like between Houston and Seattle, Houston has around 110K, and there's about an hour and something left for the game to start. And then Seattle only has about $10,000. Now, yesterday, Seattle played Houston. They collected about 182,000 off of Houston bets, right?
Right.
Seattle had about 73,000, so they collected big on last night's game. Now, for the past 4 games that Houston has played against opponents, a few of them were Seattle, they've paid out around 400,000 to Houston bettors, right?
Okay.
And I know this because I compiled data. But tonight, let's see, there's 110 to 10,000 is where the money's at between Houston and the Mariners. Or not tonight, I'm sorry, about an hour. So I would advise, I just wanted to know, actually, is there any kind of like numerology connection for Mariners to win today?
There is. There's 2 connections.
Usually.
Go ahead, and then I'll tell you.
I was gonna say usually there's this like push-pull effect. You can tell, you can just tell which way the money's gonna go because of how much they pay out. So, like I said, for the past 4 games prior to yesterday's, they've been paying out Houston bettors big, around 400, over 400,000.
Right.
And so yesterday was a huge. It was the end of that. It was the end of that push, and then they pulled all the money back and collected about over 150 from Houston bettors. So I'm thinking they might do the same thing today, just because people are still going to bet hella money on Houston.
Sure. So here's the riddle today for the Mariners to win. So Verlander got his 206th win earlier this year in Seattle. That's the 206 area code. So that followed a perfect pattern, just like how he got his last win on the 213th, or the day leaving 213 days left in the year. He got his 213th career win. Justin Verlander equals 213. So anyway, just seeing that his riddles are real specific to his opponents and even himself. If he did lose today, he'd be 9-3, and Justin equals 93. I wonder about that. The Astros are now 5-1 against the Mariners for the season. Houston Astros equals 51. When they won the World Series, they won that last game 5-1. So I see why they dropped to 5-1 last night. If they lost today, they'd be 5-2. Mariners is 43 in the most pure cipher. The Astros can also pick up their 43rd win of the season today, which would make some sense. But if you use the rule for S, Mariners is also 52. If the Astros lost today, they'd be 5-2 versus the Mariners. And from the Mariners' perspective, they'd be 2-5. Mariners equals 97. That's a big number with them. 97 is the 25th prime. So there are a couple riddles on the board for the Mariners. But I worry about the Astros picking up that 43rd win because Mariners is 43. It's their 43rd season. That's another big number with Seattle. Seattle Seahawks equals 43. They won their only Super Bowl with 43 points. So
you said Justin equals 93, right?
Right, he could fall to 9-3 this year.
Okay.
He can also get his 31st win with Houston today on this 31 date numerology, and Houston equals 31. So the Mariners had a better riddle yesterday than they did today. 5-1 is a big number with Astros. They fell to 5-1 versus the Mariners this year by getting beat yesterday. So.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, it rarely goes where they'll, like, if you look it over a period of 7 days, it'll rarely go where they'll pay out a team
$500,000
more than 4 of those days.
Sure, I see what you're saying with that. So they can get those Houston bettors back again today if the Mariners win.
They definitely would get them back, and they love to do that. So.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So the Mariners do have a couple riddles if you're feeling it, and it would be a great payout. I just personally worry about the Astros picking up that 43rd win against the Mariners because that would make a whole lot of sense in terms of the number of games.
Yeah, and the 31-day numerology too.
Right, Verlander going for his 31st win with Houston. So.
All right, man.
All right.
Cheers.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks. All right, let me try to call back this New Jersey caller because I'm sure he has a great observation. We haven't heard from him for a couple weeks. I'll see if he's still there.
What's up, Zach?
Hey, man.
How you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Hey, I wanted to follow up to that guy. I know you're back on baseball. The guy talking about the Knicks connection with this series.
Uh-huh.
I started noticing something with New York and Golden State with Chris Mullen's been talking a lot. You know, New York City guy, St. John's. Mark Jackson obviously coached the Warriors before Steve Kerr. And they also been bringing up Mitch Richmond.
Okay.
I started looking at all the connections with the Warriors and the coaches and everything else. And the most famous team the Warriors had prior to this team was the Tim, Mitch, and Chris show.
Right,
Run
absolutely.
TMC.
Absolutely.
And you know what Run TMC adds up in the reverse? Or in one thing, 73.
Oh, huh. Interesting.
So, and I think there's some connection there because Nelson coached for the Knicks and the Warriors. Jeff Van Gundy is announcing the game with Mark Jackson. He was the assistant coach with the Knicks when they were 94 championship. And then also Pat Riley left the Knicks after that season.
Okay.
And Nelson came in.
Okay.
So he's a former Warriors coach. So I think the guy's right on the money with this New York thing.
Okay.
But I think the Run TMC equals 73 is a big thing to me.
Sure, it's the 73rd NBA season. So.
And the three announcers on TV, Pierce, Phillips, and Rose all picked the Raptors in 7. But what's interesting is they are all talking about getting Steph an MVP in the finals.
Yeah, how's that work?
Because he's not been the MVP. They gave it to Andre Iguodala in the first series, and then Durant won the last 2. So I think it's very timed nicely that those guys are all hurt, so Steph can really be set up to win the MVP.
Of course, the guy born on the 73rd day of the year.
So, I mean, there's obviously riddles both ways, but I noticed that Run TMC 73 immediately. Like, there's no way they're losing the series.
Has a guy ever won the MVP and not won the series?
I thought about that, and I don't know the history, but I thought about could he win it and the team lose?
That's the only way. That's the only way I could see the Warriors losing the series is if that happened. But I'm not sure that's ever happened before. So,
I mean, it happens rarely in any sport. They give it to the losing, player.
Right.
but there is some connection though. Like that guy who's listening to talk about New York, keep digging with the Knicks in that series because there's something with the Knicks and I remember Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy, and Chris Mullin are all New York guys.
Well, the speculation is that Durant's going to go to New York next year.
Right.
So that makes sense.
With Durant, I think Durant's going to come back.
He could. I think he has something to prove on his own team, though. I think that's if he wins the championship for this year, what's next to prove?
No, I meant the series.
Oh, you think he'll come back in the series?
Yeah, I think there's some kind of strange riddle that he's going to come back in the series, but it's going to be really Steph's team.
Sure. Okay. So they're saying he's not going to play next game. I do not expect the Warriors to fall in a 3-1 hole, but if that happens, obviously he's going to come back. And if they rallied from 3-1 like the Cavs did to them the other year, that could be on the back of Durant. So
and you go back to the whole Cavs and the Nate Thurman and the Warriors and Wilt Chamberlain. They drafted him, and then LeBron goes back to the Cavs and Warriors fight again.
Right.
So I don't see how the Warriors are going to lose the series. I don't care what. I mean, if they have it set up to be a different way, but I think there's too many things, like you said, that have the Warriors winning the series in 7.
And if it goes to Game 7, which makes so much sense, and the Raptors lose, they finish the season on 73 wins. I mean, it's usually the way it is. So. And
that's the last day is June 16th. That would be the last game.
That's right.
Of course, that's U.S. Open Sunday.
Huh.
And that's Phil Mickelson's birthday, which I can't forget that.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm going to start taking a look at that. But, yeah, call the watch. I've actually, all the NHL and the NBA playoff games, I've won every game.
Nice, man. Very good.
I just bet based on what you're saying, and I'm just looking at some, like we've done, and not betting so many games, and say, okay, I like the Raptors last night.
Yeah.
And I don't see how the Warriors are going to lose the series, though.
Right. So yesterday, pretty much, I mean, I wasn't crazy about yesterday's basketball game. I was leaning Raptors, but I was also seeing that Steph Curry was going to have a big game if you were betting fantasy. So, yeah. I'm with you, man. We're thinking the same way. So
we'll talk next week before the golf.
All right. Good to hear from you.
All
right. Take care. So he's been there all this time. He normally calls in almost every show. I guess he's just been listening lately. Okay. We've been skipping all over. Again, the way I feel today is baseball's been good to us the last 2 days. Today, things are a little bit tighter. The teams that we're favoring aren't good payouts. So, I heard my man in Arizona. He's been winning the last couple of days, so he wants to go again today. And I'm wishing all of you luck who do bet. But a lot of these games today's just one of those days where it's like, games are kind of today. So anyway, guy just called in. He likes the Padres a lot tonight. He did call in earlier this week, and he liked the Padres a lot against the Phillies. I was like, I like the Phillies tonight, man. But you do what you want. Hold on. We got one more call here. Caller? Oh, he hung up. But the red flags I see for the Padres tonight, and this doesn't mean the Padres are going to lose, but the red flags I see is Corbin for the Nationals. It's his 13th start with Washington, and he can get his 6th win. Plus, it's the 6th, right? It's June 6th. He get his 6th win on June 6th. Caller?
Hey, Zach, just wanted to make another point about the Yankees game. So the Yankees manager, Aaron Boone, he was born on 3/9, so or March 9th, like 39. So it would be a good. That's another reason why it would be a good team to get that 39th loss again. So Aaron Boone, this game is 89 days after his day of birth. If you write out 89, it equals a 139.
Well, that's the 24th prime number. That's the 24th prime number is what that is.
Say it again?
That's the 24th prime number, and today has 24 date numerology.
Exactly, you're right. That's another good point. 89, if you write it out, it equals 139. It's also a span of 90 days. If you write out 90th, that also equals 139. And there's 276 days remaining in the year, or a span of 277 to 59th prime. If you write out 59, that also equals 139. And if you write out 89, or 89, it equals 139.67. Tomorrow's 6/7, so it would be a fitting number, 89, to go into that day, 139, have 139 career wins on 6/7. Just kind of fits nicely, assuming the Yankees would win tonight.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Good observations. I appreciate it. About that 89-24 thing, though, that's the one thing that could go for the Blue Jays. They could get their 24th win today on the 24 date numerology. So.
Yeah, I know you're right. So but I don't know. I just like the Yankees. I like your calls. I like your calls about this series. Actually followed. You and I were pretty much right on with the series. I agreed with you that the Blue Jays had a great chance to win the first two, but that's 39. I can't get off of it. You know how often that number hits.
It does.
So,
it does.
Yeah. But
here's what I'll say.
I
think tonight, I won't say this. I think anybody who bets the Yankees tonight, it might be worth it to put a little bit of small insurance money down on Toronto, just because they're a nice payout again, and that way you won't feel bummed. You might want to work out some risky parlay with some of the upsets, not just bet on it, just because there's a chance they could come through. I mean, the date numerology is still there, but I am leaning Yankees tonight. So.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, the date numerology, like you said, is the one thing that works. So yeah, I mean, you could even throw a little parlay together, and they might, they might keep the multiplier. If you wanted to throw the Blue Jays in there, or something like that on a small parlay. But yeah, man. So I just figured I'd throw those points out there, and yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, appreciate it, man.
All right, dude. Take care.
All right, thanks. What I'm trying to do right now is see when the last time the Blue Jays swept the Yankees at home was. So far I don't see it, because that could be a big clue. Okay, here was one where they swept him. They swept him right here. Caller?
Hey, I just want to point out one thing. So if you look at the Marlins, I think they're going to win today again. I've had them the past few days. But that's kind of like less important. The more interesting thing is the past two series, they've won it 2-3, and then before that, they had two sweeps. I think you're going to see a trend with them the next couple series where they actually win the series, because they're on this like tear. They're one of the hottest teams right now. So it's going to be a good payout potentially for them. So even if you bet them each game, they're going to still stay underdogs because they're like the last place team or something like that.
Right.
So I think that'll be one to look for just like a daily over the next week.
So you don't think the 37 is going to come through for Milwaukee on the 157th day of the year?
Well, it's more so because the sweep aspect.
Sure.
There seems like a lot going for them this game, because it's like when you think about the energy sap equation in terms of like why they have these games, the way they're scripted. I mean, they're trying to just basically distract, demoralize, and totally drain every one of these viewers. And there's like a lot that's going on right now, just in terms of like the conversation that you can see online, that would kind of fit in with if the Brewers were to lose to them, it would become one of these things that would, annoy the fans significantly. And that's always just a minor equation I have whenever I think about these things.
Okay. Well, you could be right. The game just started. The Brewers jumped out to a 2-0 lead, but there's a ton of game left. And that's also another way to kill fans, to blow a lead.
Yeah, exactly.
So it could happen. I think the more likely team to sweep between the Brewers and Yankees would be, between like the Marlins sweeping the Brewers and the Blue Jays sweeping the Yankees. I think it would be more likely that the Blue Jays would do it, because the Blue Jays name equals 23 like sweep. I also just noticed that I should have done this earlier. I just measured from the last time the Blue Jays swept the Yankees in Toronto. The date that happened was June 1st, 2016. And what's interesting is that was exactly 1,100 days ago, or if you count the full span, it was 11:01 like New York, 111. It's also 157 weeks in one day, kind of like today's the 157th day of the year, the 37th prime. Yankees is 37, Milwaukee's 37. Marlins could do it. So, I mean, if you're feeling it, and especially you can bet it now, because now it'll pay out even better, because now they're in a hole. But if you're doing real-time betting. But, man, I do worry a bit, though, about that 37, because Milwaukee's 37. It's the 157th day of the year, the 37th prime. So that said, you know what? I'm realizing that if the Marlins won today, they'd stay on 18 away losses heading into their 16th.
Yeah, we'll get the away record and the home record for the teams. They're basically, like, before the game started, it was this, like, 18-13 connection going on in terms of how they're looking. And if the Marlins won, then it would be like 13-18 away, and I think then it would be 18-14 for the Tigers, or sorry, the Brewers rather. And so basically going into the game, it's like they had the inverse records almost.
Sure.
So, I mean, I've noticed that a lot with the inverse records. It's the same thing I think weeks ago I pointed out when they have like a 1 in front of the record. Like if it's 14 and 17, it's like 47. That kind of stuff seems to come up decently.
Sure. Yeah, I hear you.
And also, like the other thing you mentioned, like not too long ago, but basically if you only look at date numerology, you're always positive. I definitely agree with that because in baseball especially, that's been very key almost always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, except for when we got in that weird, funky 2 weeks where things weren't working out, but that was it. So
yeah, but I think that's just because when you look at traditionally the games overall in MLB in April, early May, it is like the craziest set of games ever, every year, because nothing ever goes the way that you expect the teams to go with in terms of their performance overall, and like how the playoffs are. Like everything is always inverted in the beginning of the season.
Right. Yeah.
So I think now that we're in the middle of it, it's going to be kind of smooth sailing because at this point they're trying to lock in the playoff script, and you're going to see that sort of develop, especially right after the All-Star break coming up.
Sure. Yeah.
But and the last thing. So, did you ever do that alternative stream, or did you need help with the queue to do it?
Are you talking about on Discord?
Yeah.
I'm still tampering with it. I noticed another YouTuber uses Discord for a call-in line, and he has a lot of trouble just with the connection and feedback and stuff. Is that atypical? Is that something just going on in his end, or?
Well, it's more so if people have. Well, you have to do server-side mute for one, so that you don't have everyone talking at once. And then the issue is if people have themselves muted, you have to deal with that hassle. But I mean, it is sort of a give and take. It's one of those things where the quality of the audio can actually be very good, but it can be the user experience hassle of people finagling with the mute button.
Okay. All right. I'll play with it and see if I can figure it out. So.
Yeah, I mean, Pazio does it fairly well, and I mean, it's been pretty effective. The quality on it has been well. The time that there was this like feedback or other people talking, it's because the mute button wasn't done properly, and so it's almost always pretty excellent.
Okay. All right. I'll get on that then.
Yeah, just call me if you need help with any of this stuff, because like right now we've also got like a huge community going. I think I've mentioned this in the past. Like so. Like most of these like main decoders, they're all kind of together, all in this one Discord, and we've been doing tremendously well this week. And big shout! I mean, not to like harp in your stream, but I mean, Simple Truth has been like perfect the past couple of days, and it's just been like phenomenal. He had the Raptors last night too, so it's this weird thing. Like a lot of people are on the 73 connection for the Warriors, but one thing that came up is like brainwashing or something like that is 73. And I thought that was interesting.
Just the term brainwashing is 73?
Yeah, I think that's what it is at 73. Let me look it up right now.
Okay. I still wouldn't put much weight on that for calling the series, but it's interesting.
Or maybe not brainwashing. There's like another term that's a 73 connection where it comes up. But it's just kind of this interesting dynamic because a lot of people, they don't want to do it for the Raptors, but because there's also like the Drake curse stuff, which has been kind of like ridiculous recently with the Ruiz boxing match. But it is something where there is a shot for them to win this. It's just this question of a lot of people have preconceived notion about the win record, which if we're going with that heuristic, then that also points to the 3-2-2 final all-time record for the Bruins in the Stanley Cup. But I mean, it's different number connections, and so I don't know. It's one of these weird things because the narrative that they would have in terms, like if you now think of the energy drain equation, the energy drain equation would fit the Raptors plus just a couple things. So people are expecting, in terms of the storylines they're putting out, if Durant loses or the Warriors lose, he would stay. And then Nike put out the T-shirt where it has him in San Francisco, which is where they're moving to in terms of like the name of the team.
Okay.
So it's weird. They're setting it up where it's almost preconditioning for them to lose and Durant to stay.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's just something to think about. These are just like secondary things, but they drop these hints.
Sure. Well, like I've said before, I mean, this is what happens every year in the playoffs. Usually everyone starts going against my pick because they're picking up on all these like later stories. It's like, man, you should usually just stick with the original thought. You know, we did peg the Warriors to finish on 57 regular season wins well before the season ended so that they could get 73 in the playoffs. And I'll be surprised that doesn't happen.
I get it. It's just that there is still, for like my angle, I mean, I'm not really invested in either one because I didn't take either one of them. I just decided to lay off because I'm more focused on baseball. But to me, it's about developing these heuristics because, again, for people who aren't familiar, I'm trying to build like a database to just automatically pick these games just like across the board with a bot. And so it's just identifying where to look because any machine learning model, you have to essentially normalize all the data types that you're going to use. So you almost have to develop like a true false for any of these heuristics. Like, is the record going to become a prime? Yes or no? Is it going to fit the data numerology? Yes or no? And just like go down the entire list.
Right.
So it's just something to think about.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. And I mean, the thing about the Warriors is, I mean, the time to pick them was before the season began. That's when you got the better odds. During the finals, it's, you know, so you don't get as much of a payout. But anyway, this last baseball game, Nationals and Padres, there's not a lot of great indicators here. Corbin's record could make sense with a win, getting that 6th win in the 13th start. What's up, man?
Hey, Zach, I got it. I just happened to hear, man, your guy. I still been sitting here working on this stuff. I figured it out, man. I thought your guy had it from New York or Jersey. I figured it out. I didn't know what he knew about the announcers and everybody else and how they all got New York connections. That's a bad sign for Golden State, bro.
How's that?
Because of what I discovered when I was on the phone with you about the 94 finals. Don't nobody realize that Dale Curry played on the Raptors with Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon in Hakeem's final season in Toronto. And not only that, hold on, watch
Why
this.
are we looking at the 94 finals, though?
How did I find that?
Because, I mean, the Raptors weren't even in the league until the next year, 95.
Who wasn't in the league until 95?
The Raptors.
Oh, no. We went back to 94 because I was talking about the 94 finals when I typed in June the 8th. Remember, when I Googled June the 8th, I was doing the Belmont States.
Okay.
And then I saw that, and I saw 99 Stanley Cup, and then I saw Brett Hall, and then I clicked on 94 finals. I'm like, oh, New York, Houston. So what I found was, I forget how I found it, but anyway, Matt Bullard, number 50. Played for the Rockets on that championship team, right? He was born June the 5th, yesterday, 1967. He's an announcer apparently now, whatever he do. Then, like, y'all started talking about Father's Day again when I got off, and I'm like, all right, let me go back to this. I found Kawhi Leonard's father's day of death, but I couldn't find Pascal Siakam's. And then I did. And what was the days? Damn, I got to get better at writing this down. 1,697 days.
What day did the father die? What day did Siakam's father die?
10/23. That's what it is.
October
10/23/2014. You add 1,697 days to that, you got Father's Day.
Yeah, it was a 67 days.
1697 is a prime. That prime number is 23. Now that might be a good sign. Now, for the number 23. Now, how we got to Houston, your man called in from Jersey about New York. Toronto got more connections with Houston and that championship team in Houston. Through Hakeem, this Matt Bullard. Damn, how did I find that Matt Bullard dude? But Hakeem played with Dale Curry in Toronto. That's a fact in 01 and 02.
Okay.
I'm about to go back to Matt Bullard real quick. Because that's how it all started. I'm like, let me look at this. Oh, and your other guy that called in about said GSW. I was trying to get through right then. He said he took the initials of the team, Golden State, GSW. And I was saying to myself, yeah, let me do the gematria on that. I'm saying GSW also stands for gunshot wound. And MRI is the same thing. Type in MRI and Gematrinator and GSW and type out gunshot wound.
Well, I don't want to do all that much abstract stuff. I mean, because when you start doing stuff, you start pulling up too many numbers. But
it's all connected. That's my point, though. But no, it was just funny. Like, I'm listening. I'm like, yeah, okay. Because he was talking about Game 6. I think that was the same guy. And if anything, yeah, it's going to end in 6 and it'll be over for Golden State. It'll be Toronto in 6. And that was my original pick. People thought I was crazy. I'm sorry, not 6, 5, 4, 1. I'm sorry. But it all started, man, with Matt Bullard. And somehow, some kind of way, because I went and looked at, you mentioned Verlander at one point. I'm like, wait a minute, Verlander plays for the Astros. They won a title against LA. It came back to 2-1-3. That went 7 games. And I'm like, wait a minute. And somehow I got around to, I just got to go to my history here. When I searched, after I did the thing with Matt Bullard, it had to do with the days. It had to do with the birthdays and all of that. And I saw like, okay, number 50. And then I actually Googled him and I saw he's, the color analyst for the Rockets now. Played 12 seasons, 11 in the NBA. Then he played, I saw Atlanta Hawks, Charlotte Hornets. And I'm thinking like, wait a minute, did he play with Dale Curry? I clicked on Charlotte Hornets. I'm like, no, that didn't happen. And I'm looking here. I saw Iowa. I'm like, okay, Nick Nurse is from Iowa, something like that. And then it said NBA champion. I clicked on it. Then I forget how I got around to Hakeem, man. And sure enough, when I looked at Hakeem, I'm like, I'll be damned. He played for Toronto. So that's the whole Houston connection right there. That's the whole little cycle right there. It came back. And I wouldn't have known had I not looked into this Matt Bullard guy.
Okay.
I would pick that up. Because it ain't come out on TV. Ain't nobody talk about that. Like, well, Hakeem, ain't nobody talking about Houston and Golden State. I'm sorry, in Toronto. Everybody talking about Golden State, and then your man, he gave it all away with the New York connection. Ain't nobody talking about that. I didn't know that. But that's a bad sign for them. That's a real bad sign. If you want to play on it, that's how we go back to the 94 finals. Houston won that in 7. And that shit could play out exactly how that played out, too. Come to think of it. Because Houston won games 1 and 3. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah. And the Knicks repeated the numbers that they put up. Yeah, Houston won game 1. They won game 3. And then they lost back-to-back games, 4 and 5. If KD come back, expect them to lose the next 2 games. And then Houston won game 6 and won game 7. Now, at the same time, it was the 2-3-2 format back then.
Right,
so Houston,
different
Houston
format.
won in Houston the last 2 games, and they won in Madison Square Garden in Game 3. So it still could hold like what I changed my thing to 1, 3, 5, and 7 because that's when they play in Toronto in 5 and 7.
Okay,
So,
it's interesting. I mean, I couldn't connect it to those NBA finals, but about Game 6, just bringing up that point again. Kevin Durant, he had his adopted brother killed on March 21st, 213, always a big NBA finals number. And from the day of that to Game 6 is 85 days. Basketball's 85. So there is still a chance this thing ends in Game 6. But if that does happen, I don't think it's going to be Toronto that wins. So we'll see.
nah, not in Game 6. Yeah, I agree. Yep. You still on the air?
Yeah, I got to finish this decode too, man, because it's getting late in the day.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'll get you later.
All right, thanks, man. Okay. So hockey's the thing left to go over today. And about today's hockey game, again, I see the Blues are at 59 wins on the season, and I see they're at 14 playoff wins, and Blues equals 59 and 14. And I'm thinking they're not going to win any more games. I think that's the perfect spot for their season to end with the wins. So just to go through it, the Bruins right now are 320 wins and 322 losses in the playoffs. If they win 2 more, they'll be 322 and 322, old 322. Been talking about that since before the playoffs started. The Blues are 178 and 210 in the playoffs. They avoided getting that 211th loss on the day, leaving 211 days left in the year. Again, those riddles aren't real consistent for whatever reason. It seems like they're there when they hit. They come through sometimes, but they're not consistent. If they do pick up their 211th loss, that's the 47th prime. St. Louis is 47. The Bruins are 36 and 54 in the Stanley Cup Finals. I thought there was a chance they might stay on 53 losses because 53 is what tied the World Series, the Super Bowl, and the Stanley Cup together. The Blues are 2 and 14 in Stanley Cup Finals. They could have fell to 1 and 15. St. Louis is 115. The Blues right now, they're 14 and 9 in the playoffs. Again, Blues is 14. They are 8 and 3 away. Bruins is 83. The only thing I could see here that could go for the Blues tonight is if they won, they'd be 9 and 3, and Stanley equals 93. And again, the one still fear about the Bruins in the back of my mind is that they swept the last series, and so far every single team that swept a playoff series has lost in the next, which could come back to haunt the Bruins. I mean, if the Blues win, we'll say, well, that's what happened. Every team who swept, they lost the next round. But again, it's been 83 years since a single city won a championship or won 3 championships. That was Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, Michigan equals 83. They're on the 83rd meridian, and Bruins equals 83, so they can complete this 83-year riddle. The Blues being at 59 wins, that just seems like the perfect spot for their season to end. 59 wins, Blues 59. They're 29, 16, and 7 away. They pick up their 17th away loss tonight. Blues, again, is 59, the 17th prime. Blues coach is 17 and 13 in the playoffs all time. If he didn't win anymore, he'd stay on 17 for the year. Again, he's got 14 this year with the Blues, 14 and 9. Nothing screaming out with the birthday. Let's see here. The Blues goalie. I could see him winning one more game based on his stats just because he could get to 39 and St. Louis Blues is 39. There's a chance it went to Game 7 because Bruins is 43, St. Louis Blues. Or Bruins is 43 and St. Louis is also 43. But I don't know. Staying at 59 total wins and 14 playoff wins, I think that jumps out to me more than anything. So we're getting a caller from St. Louis right now. Caller?
Hey, Zach. War Mentality here.
Hey, what's up?
the Blues have 9 losses right now, right?
In the playoffs this year, right?
Yeah. So if they lose 2 more times, that's 11, right?
Right.
And the Bruins have 7 losses, right?
Okay.
And if they lose 1 more time, that's 8.
Okay.
That's 8-11. So do you think they're going to game 7?
I see what you're
Do
saying.
you think they're going to game 7?
Right now it makes more sense. If the Blues win another game, it very well will go to game 7. But right now it makes sense for the Blues to finish their season on 59 wins. That's a symbolic number to their team.
And if they lose 2 more times, that's 61 losses. I mean, 60. No, you said 59 wins. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to game 7, just like the NBA. Yeah, both teams are, the Toronto Raptors that's their first championship, and the Blues' first championship. I think they're following the same narrative.
Okay.
So I just want to drop that thought. That's all.
All right. It's a great observation. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. The Blues goalie Bennington, today's his 331st day of his age. That's the 67th prime. Hockey, 67. 67 is the 19th prime. Here we are in 2019. The Blues are at 76 goals, or excuse me, 76 losses against the Bruins. Blues is also 76. Interesting number. The Blues are 22-43 at the Bruins. They have 22 wins there in Boston. Boston's 22. Let's see. The Blues are now 2-10 in the playoffs. So if they lost today, they'd be 2-11, like 2-11, the 47th prime. St. Louis is 47. This is 2-10 in the playoffs versus the Bruins. 2-10 versus the Bruins. I guess the argument you could make to play devil's advocate is they could become 3-10, which looks kind of like 31. Boston's 22-31. Today has the 31 date, but I'm thinking the 2-11 makes a bit more sense. The Bruins right now are 14-7 in the playoffs. They can get to 15-7 on the 157th day of the year. Forgot to make that note. So the Bruins, if they win today, they're 15-7 on the 157th day of the year. They're 7-4 at home. So with a win, they're 8-4. With a loss, they're 7-5. Well, we'll see what happens. If it came back to Boston, I do see the symbolism in 85. That's a big Boston number. Okay. I'll just say this today. If the Bruins lost today, I don't think they're going to lose. If they did lose and they won the next game in St. Louis, you could pretty much chalk up game 7 almost as a guarantee for the Bruins, because if they lost today and became 7-5 and it came back to Boston, I mean, that is their number, 85. So you'd have to think that's coming through. Blues is also 76 in the reverse cipher, but man, 85 is so huge in Boston. Okay. I'm still thinking Blues are I think the Blues aren't going to win any more games. Their win record's just too perfect right now. Okay, Bruins 63-31-9 for the season. Their next loss is 32. Boston is 32. Boston's also 31. They could stay right there on the 31 date numerology. 31 date. The Boston coach, again, he can get to 15-7. He can get his 22nd all-time win with Boston in the playoffs on, today's a good day to do it. Bruins is also 79, the 22nd prime. Remember, as for being 14-7 right now, this playoff series did begin on the 147th day of the year. Let's see. It's 17 days after the Boston coach's birthday. Again, Blues is 59. The 17th prime, they can keep the Blues at 59 wins. And last time we checked, the money was huge on Boston. It was nearly 90%. So if I bet Boston today, I would take the money line because I would not want to get beat on the spread. We had a caller who did a lot of number crunching, and he thinks Boston will win 5-1 today on the 51 date numerology. Boston Bruins equals 51. Let me get that. Let's see if the money's changed at all. Still about the same, still about 90% on Boston. It could change a lot by game time, so keep an eye on it. Sometimes these things drastically change by game time. If Boston, again, these championships are scripted for a team, so I don't think money throws a Super Bowl or an NBA Finals. Like the team that's supposed to win is going to win it. And to me, the narrative makes more sense for Boston in light of Boston's year of sports, going for the first city to win 3 in 83 years. The only fear I have, though, is just that they sweat. That sweep thing had been a perfect riddle, but again, most riddles break at some point. So if I'm taking Boston tonight, I'm taking them on the money line so I don't get beat on the spread. Because that just seems likely with the way the money is. Because this way, if Boston wins, Vegas would probably still win because the majority of people are taking them to win by 1.5 goals plus. So we'll leave it there for now. I got to get the review video out before the rest of these games start. I imagine, again, a lot of you have had good days the last 2 days. So today, things might be better to chill. Let's see, Cardinals and Reds. Red Sox are up on the Royals. Rays are up on the Tigers. Again, the Tigers got the date numerology, but the Rays, Detroit 37. That's the fear there. Maybe the Braves aren't going to get to 34. They're going to have to rally here. They got 6 outs to do something. Mets are getting the Giants again, so see what happens. All right, you guys, I'll put up that review video, and I still have to do all the work for the horse racing this week, so I should be busy. Plan to do that tomorrow night. Be back same time tomorrow. Good luck, Truth Seeker.